A sinner named Ribs was having a normal bad day. Normal in Pentagram City meant broken glass, loud laughing, and someone trying to steal your shoes while you still wore them. Ribs had just won a small fight over a pack of cigarettes. He was proud for 3 seconds. Then the sky made a sound like it was tearing. People stopped. Even the street vendors stopped. A dark crack opened above the road near the old hotel with the bright sign, the one people called the Hazbin Hotel. The crack was not like a normal storm. It was clean, sharp, and wrong. Heat spilled out of it. A motorcycle came out next, not falling, not flying. It drove out of the sky as if the air was a road. Its wheels burned. Fire stayed on the ground behind it. The fire did not spread like normal flames. It clung to the street in thin lines, like it was painted there. Ribs backed away. His mouth went dry. The rider leaned forward. A heavy chain was wrapped around his shoulder like a strap. His jacket was black. His boots hit the pedals like he had done this 1,000 times. The rider's head was a skull, not a mask, not a face paint job, a real skull on fire. The bike hit the street hard. The impact cracked the road. The rider slid, turned, and stopped in one clean move that looked like control, not luck. Ribs heard someone whisper, "That's new." Someone else laughed, because they laughed at everything in hell. Then a group of local tough demons did what they always did. They ran toward the rider. "Yo," one of them yelled. "Nice bike! Hand it over!" Another pulled a blade. Another cracked their knuckles and smiled, like this was going to be fun. The flaming rider did not move at first. He looked at them. That was all. Ribs felt it in his stomach, like the air got heavier. One demon swung the blade. The rider snapped his chain once. The chain moved like it was alive. It shot out, fast and straight, and wrapped the attacker's wrist. The blade fell. The attacker's feet left the ground. He slammed into a wall hard enough to dent it. The other demons hesitated for half a second. Then they attacked together. The rider stepped forward. His boots hit the street with a calm, steady rhythm. He threw the chain again. It whipped around one demon's waist and yanked them off their feet. A third demon lunged. The rider's hand lit brighter. Fire crawled over his fingers. He touched the demon's chest. It was not a gentle touch. The demon flew back like they got hit by a truck. They skidded across the street. Their clothes smoked. Their skin did not melt, but the pain was clear. They screamed and rolled. Ribs stared. He wanted to run. His legs did not listen. One last demon tried to be brave. He ran right up and threw a punch at the rider's skull. The rider caught the fist. The demon froze. The rider leaned down, close enough that the demon could see the fire inside the skull. The rider's voice came out low and even. "I can smell your sins." Ribs did not know what that meant, but he knew it was bad. The rider's empty eye sockets locked onto the demon's eyes. The demon's face changed. His grin died. His eyes got wide. His mouth opened, but no sound came out at first. Then he fell to his knees. He started shaking like he was cold, even with all the fire around. Ribs saw tears run down the demon's face. Real tears. The demon tried to crawl away, whispering, "No, no, no." The rider let him go. Ribs finally remembered how to breathe. A few people ran. A few pulled out little phones to record. And then the hotel doors opened. A young woman stepped out first. She looked too bright for the street. Her hair was blonde, her suit was clean, and her smile was careful but real. Charlie Morningstar. Beside her came a shorter woman with a hard stare and a spear ready in her hands. Vaggie. Charlie raised both palms like she was calming a wild dog. "Hi," she called, voice loud enough for the street. "Okay. Hi, we don't want trouble." The rider turned toward her. The fire on his skull did not change. His posture did not change. but his attention did. Charlie swallowed. She kept her smile anyway. "You're clearly having a rough arrival," she said. "Do you need help? A place to rest? Water? I mean, you probably don't. But we have a lobby. And rules and—" Vaggie took a step forward, spear angled. "Charlie," Vaggie warned, quiet but sharp. "That thing is not normal." Charlie nodded like she agreed, but she did not step back. The rider looked at the hotel sign. He looked at Charlie again. His voice was like gravel scraping stone. "A hotel," he said. Charlie's smile flickered. "Yes, it's a rehabilitation hotel." The rider tilted his skull slightly. "For sinners," he said. Charlie forced herself to hold his stare. "Yes." A pause. Then he asked, "Why?" The word hit Charlie like a punch, not because it was loud, but because it was honest. Before Charlie could answer, a bright flash flickered far above the clouds. It was not red like hellfire. It was white. Clean. Cold. Ribs looked up and felt his skin crawl. Everyone felt it. Even the demons who liked violence got quiet. Charlie looked up too, her face losing color. Vaggie's grip tightened on her spear. The rider looked up at the light and did not flinch. He only said, "They saw me." And somewhere high above, something in the sky seemed to turn its attention down toward the Hazbin Hotel. Charlie did not know if bringing him inside was smart, but letting him stay outside was worse. She walked him through the front doors like she was guiding a dangerous animal through a crowded room. She kept her tone warm. She kept her hands open. She did not move too fast. The lobby smelled like dust, old carpet, and fresh paint that never fully stuck. Angel Dust leaned over the front desk like it was his personal stage. "Well, well," Angel said, eyes wide and shining. "Look at this. Tall, dark, and literally on fire." Vaggie shot him a look that could cut metal. Angel raised his hands. "Hey, I'm just appreciating the vibes." The rider stopped near the center of the lobby. The heat from him made the air shimmer. The fire did not spread, but it made the room feel like a furnace. Husk sat at the bar with a half-full glass and a tired face. He looked at the scorch marks already forming on the floor. He sighed. "Great," Husk muttered. "We got a walking insurance claim." Nifty popped up like she came out of the walls. "Oh," she squealed. "You're making the floor dirty. That's exciting." Vaggie stepped between Charlie and the rider, spear still ready. "Name," Vaggie said. "Now." The rider's skull turned slowly. Charlie felt the air tighten, the way it had tightened outside. Vaggie did not blink. "I'm not here for you," the rider said. "That's not an answer," Vaggie snapped. Charlie lifted a hand. "Vaggie, please, let me." Vaggie's jaw clenched, but she stepped half a step back. Not away, just enough to let Charlie speak. Charlie nodded at the rider. "I'm Charlie," she said. "This is my hotel. This is Vaggie. She's very protective." Vaggie did not deny it. Charlie kept going. "We try to help sinners become better. We try to help them change." The rider stared at her. "Change," he repeated. The word sounded like he did not trust it. Charlie's voice softened. "Yes, it's hard, but it's possible." Angel Dust snorted. "Sometimes," Husk muttered. "Most times it's a mess." Charlie shot both of them a look. They shut up, mostly. The rider looked around the lobby. He saw cracked walls. He saw cheap furniture. He saw a place that wanted to be kind in a city that did not reward kindness. He asked the same question again, quieter. "Why?" Charlie's throat tightened. She hated that the question made her feel small. She hated that she still did not have a perfect answer. "Because," she said, "I don't want hell to be only punishment forever. I want a way out, for anyone who truly wants it." The rider's skull tilted again. "And if they don't?" he asked. Charlie hesitated. Then they won't. But I still want to offer the chance, Vaggie cut in. We offer a chance, not a free pass. The writer looked at Vaggie now. Something about her tone seemed to make sense to him. He nodded once, not friendly, just acknowledging. Husk stood up from the bar and walked over with a notebook and a pencil. Charlie blinked. Husk, what are you doing? Husk did not look at Charlie. He looked at the writer's burning boots. Starting a list, Husk said. Floor, carpet, 2 chairs, the front window, probably. Just stand still. Try not to drip fire. Nifty gasped like she was thrilled. A list. I love lists. The writer looked down at the notebook, then at Husk. You charge for damage, the writer said. Husk shrugged. I charge for survival. The writer did not laugh, but Charlie thought she saw something like recognition, like he understood the idea of a bill you never stop paying. Charlie cleared her throat. We have a room, she offered, if you want. You can rest, or we can talk. We can figure out what happened to bring you here. The writer's chain shifted on its own, metal scraping softly. I didn't come by choice, he said. Charlie nodded quickly. Okay. Then we help you. That's what we do. Vaggie muttered. That's what you do. Charlie ignored that. The writer took one slow step forward. The wood floor creaked. The heat made a lamp flicker. You help sinners, he said. In hell? Charlie forced a bright tone. Yes. It's a whole thing. The writer's skull leaned closer. And what do you do, he asked, when the sinner is proud of what they did? The lobby got quiet. Even Angel Dust stopped joking. Charlie's mouth opened, then closed. She answered honestly. We try anyway. We protect people. We set boundaries. We don't let harm happen here. But we don't give up because someone is hard. The writer stared at her, like he was testing if she believed her own words. Then, behind Charlie, the radio in the lobby crackled. The sound came out of nowhere. The old speaker on the wall sputtered, then filled with a smooth voice that felt too close. My, the voice purred, warm and sharp at the same time. What an unusual guest. Charlie's shoulders tensed. Vaggie's eyes narrowed. Alastair stepped into the lobby like he owned the air. His smile was wide. His eyes were bright and cruel and curious. He looked at the writer like a child looking at a new toy. Oh, this is delightful, Alastair said. Fire that is not ours. A soul that is not from here. And that smell. He sniffed, then chuckled. A righteous kind of anger, Alastair said. How rare. The writer turned toward Alastair. The temperature in the room seemed to jump. Charlie's heart thumped. She knew Alastair liked games. She knew he liked pushing people. And she did not like the way Alastair looked at the writer's chain. Alastair kept smiling. You may call me Alastair, he said. The radio demon. I do so enjoy meeting new forces. The writer did not offer his hand. He did not bow. He did not show fear. He only said, I know what you are. Alastair's smile widened, like that was the best compliment. And I, Alastair said, am very interested in what you are. Charlie stepped between them, forcing her voice to stay cheerful. Okay, she said. No staring contests in the lobby. House rule. Please. Vaggie leaned close to Charlie's ear. Get him upstairs. Now. Charlie nodded and turned to the writer again. Come on, she said gently. We'll find you a safe space, away from everyone trying to poke you. The writer's skull turned back toward Charlie. He paused, like he was deciding if she was a trap. Then he followed. Up the stairs, the hallway lights flickered as he passed. Charlie tried to talk as she walked. She said. We never had someone like you here, but we've had a lot of different kinds of people. So we can adapt." The rider's voice came from behind her. "What's your name?" he asked. "Really?" Charlie looked back, confused. "Charlie." "No," he said. "Your full name." Charlie's face tightened for a second. Then she said it anyway. "Charlie Morningstar." The rider stopped. Vaggie stopped too. Angel Dust, who had followed at a distance, whispered, "Oh, yeah. That name changes things." The rider said nothing for a moment. Then he nodded once. Slow. "The Devil's Daughter," he said. Charlie's cheeks warmed. She hated the title. She hated that people used it like a weapon. "I'm my own person," she said quickly. "I'm trying to be." The rider looked at her for a long beat. Then he said, "Good." Just one word, but it landed like a weight. Like approval mattered when it came from someone like him. They reached a spare room. Charlie opened the door. It had a bed that squeaked just from being looked at, a chair with one leg slightly shorter than the others, a window that faced the city like it was daring you to step outside. Charlie stepped in first. "Here, this can be yours for now." The rider did not cross the threshold. Charlie tried not to show that it hurt. "Do you need anything?" she asked. "Blanket. Something to drink? We have water and other things." The rider stared into the room. Then he stared at the city through the window. He said, "I need answers." Charlie nodded. "Okay, we'll find them." Vaggie stepped up beside Charlie, voice low and strict. "You don't get to scare my guests," Vaggie said. The rider's skull turned toward her again. Vaggie held her ground. "You don't get to judge people here without me knowing what you are," she added, "and what you can do." The rider's chain shifted, like it wanted to lash out on its own, but he held still. "I punish the guilty," he said. Vaggie's eyes narrowed. "In hell, that's everyone." The rider answered without emotion. "Then hell has a lot to answer for." Charlie felt the room tighten again, like something big was behind his words. She lifted her hands, calming. "Let's do this step by step," Charlie said. "Tonight, we keep everyone safe. Tomorrow, we talk. We learn who you are and how you got here." The rider stared at her. Then he asked, "And if I'm a problem?" Charlie swallowed. She said the truth. "Then we deal with it," she said. "But I'm not going to treat you like an enemy just because you look scary." From the hallway, Husk's voice floated up like a tired ghost. "And if you burn the sheets, I'm charging extra." Charlie rubbed her face. Angel Dust giggled. Vaggie looked like she wanted to throw something. The rider looked toward the hallway. He said, flat and simple, "Fine." Charlie blinked. "Fine. Fine," he repeated. One night. It was not trust. It was not peace. But it was something. Charlie took it. Downstairs, Alastair stood in the lobby and watched the ceiling like he could see through floors. His smile never left. Somewhere across the city, in a tall building full of screens, Vox played the street footage again and again. He paused it on the skull. He leaned forward, eyes shining with greedy interest. "Oh," Vox said softly. "This is going to be fun." And far above the red clouds, beyond hell's dirty sky, a clean white light moved like a blade. Someone in heaven had looked down and noticed that something new had arrived. The next morning, Charlie tried to act normal. Normal meant setting up a welcome breakfast table that nobody asked for, and reminding herself to smile even when she wanted to panic. She walked into the lobby with a clipboard. She had written "New Guest Plan" at the top. Under that, she had written, "Step 1. Don't scream." Vaggie was already there, standing by the front door like a guard. "You slept?" Charlie asked. Vaggie's eyes were tired. "I watched the hallway." Charlie sighed. "Of course you did." Angel Dust was on the couch, pretending he wasn't watching the stairs. Husk poured a drink into his coffee mug because he did not respect mornings. Nifty was scrubbing a tiny burn mark from the floor with wild joy. Serpentius arrived through a window with a dramatic hiss, like he was making an entrance for a crowd that did not exist. "Good morning," Pentius announced. "I have brought science." Vaggie pointed at the broken window frame. "You broke the—" "It's fine," Pentius said quickly. "I can fix it later. Important matters first. We have a flaming skeletal motorcyclist in the building." Charlie forced a bright smile. "Yes, we noticed." Pentius pulled out a clunky device with wires and a glass bulb. "This," he said proudly, "will measure the strange energy he emits." Husk leaned over the bar. "And when it blows up, I'll add it to the bill." Pentius ignored him. Charlie looked at her clipboard, then up at the stairs. The new guest still hadn't come down. She felt the pressure again, like a storm waiting behind a door. Charlie took a breath and climbed the stairs. She knocked softly. No answer. She knocked again. "Hi, it's Charlie. I'm coming in, okay?" The door opened before she touched the knob. The rider stood in the doorway like he had been waiting. In daylight, the fire looked the same. It did not dim. It did not flicker like a candle. It burned like a constant thing. Charlie tried not to stare. "Good morning," she said. The rider's voice was calm. "Time is different here." Charlie blinked. Yes. Probably." He stepped into the hallway. The wood under his boots darkened slightly, but the fire did not spread. Charlie walked beside him down the stairs. She could feel him watching everything, listening. In the lobby, everyone got tense. Angel Dust waved anyway. "Morning, hot stuff." Vaggie gave Angel a look. Angel shut up, mostly. Charlie stepped forward like a host. "So," she said, "we should talk. We should set ground rules. For safety." The rider's skull turned toward her. "Rules," he repeated. Charlie nodded fast. "Yes. Rule 1. No hurting guests, unless it's self-defense. Rule 2. No. Staring into people's souls without consent." Husk choked on his drink. "Without consent," he repeated, amused. Charlie shot him a look. "Husk." The rider said nothing for a beat. Then he asked, "Do your guests consent to being owned?" Charlie froze. Angel Dust's smile died so fast, it was like someone slapped him. Vaggie stepped forward, spear lifting a little. Charlie's voice softened. "We're working on that," she said. The rider turned his skull toward Angel Dust. Not a threat. Not yet. Just a tension. Angel Dust forced a grin. "Buddy." "You looking at me like I'm a math problem." Charlie jumped in fast. "Okay, let's focus. You said you need answers. We want answers too. What's your name?" The rider paused. For the first time, Charlie felt a small crack in his certainty. Like that question was not simple. "Johnny," he said at last. Charlie nodded. "Johnny." "Okay, I'm Charlie." "I heard," he said. Charlie tried again, gentle. "Johnny, what happened? How did you get here?" Johnny's chain shifted. The links clicked like teeth. "I was on a hunt," he said. "A deal maker. A thief of souls." Charlie's heart beat harder. "A deal maker. Like..." Alastair's voice cut in from the side. "Like me?" Alastair appeared with a grin, hands behind his back, posture polite like a host at a party. Charlie felt her stomach drop. "Alastair, please." "Not right now." Alastair ignored her. He walked in a slow circle around Johnny, like he was studying a painting. "You carry an interesting spirit," Alastair said. "It clings to you, like a parasite. Or a pet." The air tightened again. Johnny turned his skull toward Alastair. "You feed on suffering," Johnny said. Alastair's smile stayed. "Oh, what a crude way to put it." Johnny didn't move. But Charlie saw the chain rise slightly, like it wanted to strike. Charlie stepped between them again. "No fighting in the lobby," she said, firmer now. "Please." Vaggie backed her up, voice sharp. "He means it." Alastair's eyes flicked to Vaggie. The smile thinned for a moment. Then Alastair lifted his hands, mock innocent. "Of course," he said. "I only wish to welcome our guest." Charlie stared him down. "Welcome from a distance." Alastair chuckled. "As you wish." He drifted back toward the shadows like he belonged there. Charlie turned back to Johnny. "You were hunting a dealmaker," she said. Johnny nodded. "And then?" Charlie asked. "The world tour," he said. "I felt a pull, not from my hell, from somewhere else." Charlie frowned. "So someone pulled you here?" Johnny's voice was flat. "Or something." Serpentius cleared his throat loudly. "Science agrees." Charlie blinked. "Pentius?" Pentius stepped forward with his device. "May I scan you? For research?" Vaggie snapped. "No." Charlie started. "Pentius, maybe." Johnny held up one hand. He looked at the device, then at Pentius. "Do it," Johnny said. Charlie's stomach dropped. "Johnny." He didn't look at her. "I want answers," he repeated. Pentius lit up. "Excellent." He turned on the scanner. The bulb glowed. For half a second, it seemed fine. Then the device made a screaming sound like a kettle about to explode. Husk sighed. "Here we go." The bulb cracked. A burst of energy popped out like a flash. The wires snapped. The device flew back and hit the wall. Pentius fell over with a yelp. "My science!" The wall smoked. Charlie rushed forward. "Pentius, are you okay?" Pentius sat up, dazed. "I am alive, but my pride is injured." Husk walked over with his notebook. He added a line without even looking up. "New line," Husk said. "Wall, science machine, emotional distress." Nifty clapped. "Yay, more cleaning." Johnny looked at the smoking device. "Not your technology," he said. Charlie exhaled slowly. "Okay, so we can't just scan you like a battery." Vaggie gave Charlie a look that said, "We're not doing this again." Charlie nodded back. She knew. She turned to Johnny, trying to keep her voice steady. "Look," Charlie said, "we can't solve everything in one day, but we can keep you safe here while we learn. And we can keep everyone else safe too." Johnny's skull turned slightly, as if he heard something none of them could. He walked toward the front door. Vaggie stepped in his path instantly. "Where are you going?" Johnny's voice was calm. "Something is watching." Charlie's heart jumped. "From heaven?" Johnny didn't answer right away. He looked at Charlie. "You have enemies," he said. "Big ones." Charlie tried to smile, but it came out weak. "Welcome to my life." Johnny looked out the window. The street was too quiet for morning, like the city was holding its breath. Then Charlie saw it too. High above the red clouds, there was a clean white glow, a small point at first. It moved like a searchlight. Vaggie whispered, "No." Angel Dust's voice shook for once. "Tell me that's not—" Husk finished his drink in one gulp. "It's them." Charlie's mouth went dry. The extermination was not supposed to be today. But heaven didn't care about schedules when something new showed up. A sound rolled across the sky. Not thunder, not a siren, a horn. It was clear and sharp, like a command. Johnny opened the front door. Heat rushed out into the morning air like a warning. Charlie grabbed his arm without thinking. His jacket was hot, but it didn't burn her. "Johnny," she said, fast, "if this is about us, we handle it together." Johnny looked down at her hand, then at her face. He didn't pull away. He said, "Get your people inside." Charlie nodded once, hard. "Vaggie, lock down. Evacuate the lobby." Now! Vaggie moved like she had trained for this. Angel, Husk, Nifty, upstairs. Back hall, move! Angel Dust argued out of habit, but his feet were already moving. Pentius scrambled, hissing, My lair, the hotel, is under attack! Charlie's eyes stayed on the sky. The white point grew larger. Shapes formed behind it. Figures with wings, bright armor, and long weapons that shined like clean metal. Exorcists. They came down in a tight line like a squad. Charlie's chest tightened. Fear tried to swallow her, but she didn't step back. She stepped onto the porch beside Johnny. Vaggie appeared at her side, spear ready. Charlie, Vaggie said through her teeth, this is bad. Charlie nodded. I know. Johnny's chain uncoiled slightly, as if it could taste the danger. The first exorcist landed on the street with a hard crack. Knees bending, weapon pointed. More landed behind her. Their leader stepped forward. Her armor was brighter. Her posture was strict. Loot. Her eyes locked on Charlie first with pure hatred. Then they shifted to Johnny. Her expression changed for 1 second. Not fear. Surprise. Like she was seeing a stain that didn't belong. She raised her weapon and spoke with a cold, loud voice. By order of heaven, she said, this place is condemned. Charlie lifted her hands. Wait, this isn't the day. Loot didn't care. Her eyes stayed on Johnny now. And you, she added, voice sharper, are an intrusion. Johnny didn't answer with words. The fire on his skull flared brighter. He stepped off the porch and onto the street. The exorcists aimed. Charlie felt her stomach drop as they threw their first spears. Johnny moved like he had seen worse than this 1,000 times. He turned his shoulder. A spear hit him and bounced off like it struck a steel wall. Another spear hit his chest and snapped in half. The exorcists froze for half a heartbeat. They were not used to targets that didn't react like targets. Johnny kept walking. Charlie whispered, Oh my. Vaggie tightened her grip. Charlie, get back. Charlie shook her head. Not leaving. Loot barked. Fire! They rushed him. Johnny's chain snapped out like a whip. It wrapped around one exorcist's ankle and yanked her off the ground. She slammed into a parked car and crushed it. Husk's voice came faintly from the doorway, like he couldn't help himself. Add car to the bill. Charlie almost laughed, which felt insane. Then Johnny raised his hand. Hellfire rolled out in a tight wave. Not wild. Not messy. Controlled. It hit the street in a line and forced the exorcists to jump back. Their bright armor smoked where the fire touched. They were not immune. They hissed and stumbled. Loot's eyes narrowed. She didn't back away. She leapt forward, weapon raised. Her strike was clean and fast. Her spear hit Johnny's shoulder and dug in. Charlie's heart jumped. Johnny didn't even grunt. He grabbed the spear shaft with one hand and stopped it. Loot's eyes widened, just a little. Johnny yanked. He pulled her forward like she weighed nothing. Then he swung his chain and wrapped it around her weapon arm. He didn't crush her. He didn't tear her apart. He just held her, like a hunter holding a trap shut. Loot snarled. Unhand me, demon. Johnny leaned closer. His skull was inches from her face. I'm not your demon, he said. Charlie saw the moment coming. She felt it like a cold wind. Johnny's empty eye sockets burned hotter. Loot's eyes flicked, and for the first time she looked unsure. Johnny's voice dropped lower. Look at what you've done, he said. Charlie's breath caught. Johnny locked his stare onto her. For a split second, Charlie saw Loot's face change. Not pain from fire, something deeper, like memories hitting her all at once. Loot's jaw clenched, her teeth bared, her eyes watered, but she forced them open, fighting it like it was poison. She did not collapse. She did not beg. But she shook. Johnny released her weapon arm and pushed her back. Loot staggered, boots scraping. She raised her spear again, furious now, voice tight. "Do not," she hissed. "Use that on me." Johnny didn't chase. He didn't gloat. He stood in the street like a wall of fire. The exorcists around Loot hesitated. Charlie stepped forward, voice loud, trying again. "Stop!" she shouted. "You can't just... We're trying to do something different here." Loot's eyes snapped to Charlie with pure contempt. "There is no different," Loot said. "There is only judgment." She lifted her hand. More exorcists moved to flank the hotel. Vaggie cursed under her breath. "They're going around." Charlie's mind raced. "Vaggie, protect the guests!" Vaggie nodded and ran back inside, barking orders. Charlie stayed outside. Her legs were shaking, but she stayed. Johnny's skull turned slightly, tracking the flankers. His chain moved like it wanted to split into two directions at once. He looked at Charlie. "Inside," he told her. Charlie shook her head. "No, this is my fight too." Johnny stared for a beat. Then he nodded once, like he accepted that. He spoke without looking away from the exorcists. "When they aim at your door," he said, "you'll see who they really are." Charlie swallowed. "I already know." Loot shouted a command. The exorcists rushed again, this time smarter. 2 aimed for Johnny. 3 aimed for the hotel entrance. Others went to the roof line, trying to get angles. They had learned fast. Johnny didn't move like he was surrounded. He moved like he was in control. His chain snapped outward in a wide circle, cracking the air. It caught 2 exorcists mid-run and slammed them into each other. He stepped forward and kicked one spear out of the air. Then he pointed his hand toward the roof. A thin line of hellfire shot up like a whip and wrapped around an exorcist's leg. He yanked. She fell off the edge and crashed into the street, armor denting. Charlie stared. He wasn't just strong, he was precise. Loot lunged again, going for Charlie this time. Charlie's eyes widened. She raised her own power out of instinct, a bright red energy forming around her hands. But Johnny was faster. His chain snapped between Charlie and Loot like a barrier. It hit Loot's spear and knocked it aside. Johnny didn't even look at Charlie as he did it. He was guarding her like it was a rule. Charlie's chest tightened with something like relief and something like fear, because she knew what it meant when a being like this decided you mattered. Loot snarled, then signaled. The exorcists pulled back in unison. Charlie blinked. "What?" They rose into the air, hovering. Loot's voice carried down like a threat. "This isn't over," she said. "We will return with the proper tools." Charlie's heart pounded. Proper tools. Loot's eyes stayed on Johnny. "You do not belong anywhere," she said to him. "Not even here." Then the exorcists shot back up into the clouds, their white light fading as they vanished. The street went quiet again. Smoke curled from cracked pavement. A car had been crushed. The hotel porch had holes from spears. Husk walked out slowly, looked at the damage, and flipped his notebook open. Without a word, he started writing. Charlie turned to Johnny, breathing hard. "Thank you," she said, voice shaking. Johnny's skull faced the sky where the light had been. "They'll come back," he said. Charlie nodded. "I know." She looked at him. Really looked. "You used that stare," she said softly. "What was that?" Johnny was silent for a moment. Then he looked down at her. "It's judgment," he said. Charlie's voice was careful. "And you're what? A demon? An angel? Something else?" Johnny's chain settled back onto his shoulder. His voice came out steady, like he was stating a fact he couldn't change. "I'm a rider," he said. "A curse." Charlie frowned. "A rider of what?" Johnny held her gaze. The fire in his skull burned bright, but his voice stayed calm. "Vengeance," he said. Charlie swallowed, then asked the question that had been stuck in her throat since last night. "What do we call you?" Johnny paused. The city wind blew ash across the street. From inside the hotel, Vaggie watched through a cracked window, still ready to fight. Angel Dust stood behind her, face pale, trying to pretend he was fine. Alastair stood deeper in the lobby, smiling like he had just heard a song he liked. And somewhere, far away, Vox replayed the battle footage with greedy eyes. Johnny finally answered Charlie. "Ghost Rider," he said. Charlie felt the words hit her like a heavy door closing, not because the name was scary, because it sounded like a warning, and because she believed him. Charlie made the hotel meeting happen because she was scared of what would happen if she didn't. The lobby still smelled like smoke from the morning fight. The front door had new cracks in it. The floor had dark scorch marks that Nifty was already scrubbing with way too much joy. Husk sat at the bar with his notebook open. He wrote without looking up. Charlie stood in front of everyone with her hands clasped. She kept her smile on. It felt like holding up a heavy sign. "Okay," she said. "We need a plan, not just for the hotel. For all of this." Vaggie stood close to Charlie, arms crossed. Spear resting against her shoulder like it was part of her body. Her eyes kept flicking to the windows. Angel Dust sat on the couch, legs crossed, trying to look casual. He wasn't. His foot kept bouncing like it wanted to run away on its own. Serpentius had wrapped a bandage around his head, even though nobody had asked him to. He looked offended by the idea that his science machine could lose a fight. Nifty sat on the floor, cleaning, humming. Alastair leaned against the wall like he was at a show. His smile never changed, but his eyes watched everything. And at the center of the room, Ghost Rider stood still. Johnny Blaze did not sit. His skull burned calmly, like a torch that never ran out. Charlie tried to speak like a leader, not a scared person. "First," she said, "we need to understand what happened. Heaven attacked early." "That means they noticed you, Johnny. They also noticed us even more." Johnny's head turned slightly toward her. "They didn't come for you," he said. "Not first." Charlie's stomach tightened. "They came for the hotel." Vaggie's voice was tight. "They came to make a point." Angel Dust let out a soft laugh that didn't sound happy. "Yeah, their point is, we hate you." Real inspiring. Charlie nodded slowly. "Right. So we need to be smarter. We need security. We need rules." Husk lifted his notebook like a teacher raising a hand. "Rules," he said. "Rule 1, no one breaks anything. Rule 2, if you break anything, you pay." Nifty popped up. "Rule 3, we clean it." Husk stared at her. "No." Alastair chuckled softly. "Oh, this is charming." Charlie took a breath and looked at Johnny. "Johnny," she said, "I need to ask directly. You said you punish the guilty." Johnny did not move. "Yes," he said. Charlie held her ground anyway. "In this hotel, people are trying to change. Some of them are really messy. But they are trying." Johnny's head tilted. "Trying is cheap," he said. Angel Dust sat up straighter. "Oh, come on, I'm right here." Charlie shot Angel a quick look, then kept her eyes on Johnny. "You're right," she said. "Trying is not enough by itself. But it can be the start." Johnny's voice stayed flat. "Start doesn't erase blood." Charlie swallowed. She knew he was not saying it to be mean. He was saying it because he believed it. Vaggie stepped forward, spear shifting. "And your judgment," Vaggie said. "That thing you did to the angel. You can do that to anyone." Johnny looked at her. "I can," he said. Vaggie's eyes narrowed. "Then you are a threat." Johnny didn't argue. "I know." Charlie's chest tightened. She hated how simple it was for him, like he'd accepted being feared a long time ago. Charlie raised her hands again, trying to calm the room. "Okay," she said. "We're going to set boundaries. Johnny, you do not use that stare on hotel guests. Not unless someone is actively hurting someone else." Johnny's skull turned toward her. "And if your guests are hurting others outside these walls?" he asked. Charlie hesitated. Vaggie answered first. "Then we stop them. We don't let it happen. But we don't torture people." Johnny's fire flared just a little. "It's not torture," he said. "It's truth." Angel Dust's voice got sharp, defensive. "Truth can still wreck you, pal." Johnny's head turned to Angel. Angel's grin tried to appear. It failed halfway. Johnny looked at him for one long beat. Not the stare, not the full thing, just attention. Angel Dust's shoulders went stiff. Charlie stepped in quickly. "Angel is right," she said. "Truth can hurt, so we use care." Johnny said nothing. His silence was heavy. Alastair's voice slid into the gap like a knife with a smile. "Care," Alastair repeated. "How adorable. Your little rules are so very human." Vaggie snapped her head toward him. "Stay out of this!" Alastair's smile widened. "But I'm part of the hotel, dear." Charlie's jaw tightened. She hated that it was true. "Alastair," Charlie said, controlled. "If you want to help, help. Don't stir." Alastair put a hand to his chest like he was hurt. "I would never." Nobody believed him. Husk flipped a page in his notebook with a hard sound. "While you all have your feelings," Husk said, "let's talk about reality. If heaven came early once, they can do it again. We need to reinforce the front. We need escape routes. And we need someone to pay for the smashed car." Johnny's skull turned toward Husk. Husk stared right back, not scared, just tired. "You break it, you buy it," Husk said. Johnny looked down at Husk's notebook. He reached into his jacket slowly. Vaggie tensed, spear lifting. Johnny pulled out something small and dark. A coin. It looked old. It looked burned. He set it on the bar. Husk stared at it like it might explode. "What is that?" Husk asked. Johnny said, "Payment." Husk blinked. Then he picked it up carefully. He bit it, because Husk was Husk. His eyes widened. "Okay," Husk said slowly. "Rule 3, you keep doing that." Nifty clapped. "Money!" Charlie almost laughed. And that laugh almost turned into crying. She swallowed it down. Then the hotel's old TV flickered on by itself. The screen turned bright. A face filled it. Vox. His smile was perfect. His voice was smooth. "Hello, Pentagram City," Vox said like he was a best friend. "Big news today. A brand new nightmare just arrived, and it walked right up to the Hazbin Hotel." Charlie's blood went cold. Vaggie stepped in front of the TV like she could block sound. Angel Dust's face went pale. On the screen, the footage played. Ghost Rider in the street. The chain. The fire. The spears bouncing off him like they were toys. Vox paused the video on a close shot of the flaming skull. "Look at this," Vox said. "Is it an overlord? A new kind of demon? A heaven mistake? Nobody knows. And that's why we have to talk about it." Alastair's smile tightened. A tiny crack of irritation. He didn't like another broadcaster controlling the story. Vox kept going. "And you know what's wild?" Vox said. "He showed up right when Heaven attacked early. Coincidence? Or is the Hazbin Hotel hiding a weapon?" Charlie's hands clenched. "That's not true," she whispered. Vox leaned closer to the camera, like he could see into the room. "So here's the question," Vox said. "Is the hotel safe, or is it inviting danger to all of us?" Charlie stepped forward, voice shaking with anger now. "We're not inviting." Vaggie grabbed the remote and smashed the power button. The TV went black. The silence after was worse. Husk set the coin down and muttered, "We just became a headline." Serpentius hissed, offended. "I hate headlines. They are loud. Angel Dust swallowed hard. He's gonna make it our fault. Charlie's throat tightened. We need to get ahead of it. Alastair's voice stayed smooth. Oh, my dear, you cannot get ahead of Vox. He lives ahead. He sells ahead. Charlie turned to Alastair. Then what do we do? Alastair's smile returned fully. We survive, Alastair said, and we make sure the audience sees what we want them to see. Vaggie snapped. No deals. Alastair's eyes gleamed. No promises. Charlie took a breath. Her head felt full. Fear, anger, pressure, everything mixed. And Johnny? Johnny stared at the blank TV like he could still smell Vox through it. He wants me, Johnny said. Charlie's eyes widened. What? He wants control, Johnny corrected. Control always wants fire. Angel Dust gave a small, broken laugh. Join the club. Charlie swallowed. Okay. We tighten security. We keep guests safe. We don't let Vox paint us as monsters. Johnny's head turned to her. And what if you are? He asked, quiet. Charlie flinched. Not because it was rude, because it was honest. She answered anyway. Then we change, she said. Or we don't deserve this hotel. Johnny stared at her for a long time. Then he said, You believe that? Charlie nodded. Yes. Johnny's voice stayed calm, but the words were heavy. Belief doesn't stop bullets, he said. Or spears? Vaggie's eyes narrowed. No, but planning does. Charlie looked at Vaggie with gratitude. Then the front door rattled. Not a gentle knock. A hit. Everyone froze. Another hit shook the door in its frame. Charlie's heart jumped into her throat. Vaggie moved fast, spear up, body between the door and the room. Husk slid behind the bar like he'd practiced. Angel Dust vanished behind the couch. Not brave, smart. Nifty ducked behind a chair and peeked out with excitement. Serpentius hissed and pulled out a ray gun that looked like it might explode. Alastair stayed smiling. Johnny didn't move at all. The door shook again. Then voices rose outside. Angry. Loud. A crowd. Charlie heard words through the wood. Open up! Hazbin freaks! Stop hiding the skull thing! We don't want heaven angry at us. Charlie's stomach dropped. They're here, she whispered. Vaggie's face went hard. A mob. Alastair's smile widened a little, almost pleased. Oh, this is getting interesting. Charlie rushed forward, shaking, but determined. We have to talk to them. Vaggie blocked her. No, that's how you get stabbed. Charlie's voice rose. If we hide, Vox wins. Vaggie's eyes flashed. If you die, Vox wins too. Charlie looked past Vaggie to Johnny. He was still. Quiet. But his chain was shifting, like it could feel the anger outside. Charlie stepped around Vaggie carefully. Johnny, she said softly. Please don't burn them. Johnny's skull turned toward her. They're afraid, he said. Charlie nodded. Yes. And fear makes people do evil things, Johnny said. Charlie's throat tightened. Yes, but... Johnny didn't finish her sentence. He just walked toward the door. Vaggie snapped, Stop! Johnny stopped 2 feet from the door. He didn't face Vaggie. He faced the wood and the noise beyond it. Then he said, low enough that only the room heard, This is why your hotel matters. Charlie's eyes widened. What? Johnny looked over his shoulder, skull burning steady. If you can change fear, he said, you can change anything. Charlie felt a lump in her throat. Then the door hit again, harder. A crack appeared along the frame. Vaggie raised her spear. Alastair chuckled softly. Husk whispered, If they break the door, add door to the bill. Charlie stepped forward, voice firm now. Open it, she said. Vaggie's eyes went wide. Charlie! Charlie didn't look away. Open it! Vaggie hesitated, then reached for the lock. Johnny lifted one hand. Not threatening, just ready. Vaggie opened the door fast and stepped to the side, spear up. The crowd outside was bigger than Charlie expected. Dozens, maybe more. Some held weapons. Some held signs. Some held phones to record. Their faces were twisted with anger and worry. The front row flinched when they saw Johnny behind Charlie. The flaming skull made them freeze like deer. One demon in the front shouted anyway, voice shaking. "Is that thing going to get us killed?" Charlie stepped forward onto the porch, hands up. "It's not a thing," she said loudly. "He's a person. His name is Johnny, and he helped protect this street today." Someone yelled, "He brought heaven." Charlie's voice shook, but she kept it loud. "He didn't bring heaven. Heaven attacked because they hate this hotel. They hate the idea that people can change." A woman demon spat on the ground. "Change? You think I can change? I've been here a long time, Princess." Charlie nodded, eyes wet. "Yes, I do." Laughter rose, bitter. Then another voice cut through, calmer but sharp. "And if he decides we don't deserve to live?" a demon asked, pointing at Johnny. "He looks like judgment." Charlie's stomach tightened. Johnny stepped forward once. The crowd tensed like a single animal. Charlie held her breath. Johnny spoke, voice calm, carrying. "I don't punish fear," he said. "I punish what you do with it." The crowd went quiet. A demon at the edge shouted, "Easy to say when you're a monster." Johnny turned his skull slightly toward the voice. "Call me what you want," he said, "but don't use fear as an excuse to hurt the weak." Charlie felt the moment shift. Not peace, but a crack in the anger. Then a rock flew from the back. It hit the porch railing and shattered. The crowd surged, shouting again. Charlie's chest tightened. "Stop!" Vaggie stepped forward, spear out, pushing the front line back. "Back off!" she yelled. "This is private property!" A few demons pushed closer anyway. Charlie turned to Johnny, panic rising. Johnny didn't move at first. Then his chain snapped out, not at the crowd, but at the doorframe. It wrapped around it and yanked the broken piece back into place, holding the door steady. He was protecting the hotel, not attacking the street. Charlie felt something in her chest loosen just a little. Then Vox's voice blasted from somewhere nearby. A hovering screen drone floated above the street, projecting a live feed. Vox's smiling face filled it. "Ah, look at that," Vox said loudly. "The Hazbin Hotel is having a neighborhood meeting." Charlie's face went hot. Vaggie snarled, "He's here!" The crowd looked up at the drone. The shouting got louder. Vox's voice turned sweet and sharp. "Hey everyone," Vox said. "Just a reminder, if Heaven comes back early because of the skull guy, don't say I didn't warn you." Charlie stared up at the drone, hands shaking. "Vox!" she shouted. "Stop this!" Vox laughed. "Aw, Princess Charlie, still trying to sell hope like it's soap." Alastair's voice came from the doorway behind Charlie, smooth and bright. "Vox," Alastair called, waving like they were friends. "How wonderful that you're watching." Vox's smile stiffened on the screen. "Oh," Vox said. And there he is, the radio demon, hiding behind the princess again. Alastair's eyes gleamed. "My dear boy," Alastair said pleasantly, "I don't hide. I wait." Charlie felt the air shift. Dangerous. Vaggie snapped, "Not now." Charlie understood. If Alastair and Vox turned this into a war, the street would burn. Charlie stepped forward and lifted her voice again. "Everyone," she said, loud and shaking, "go home. This is what Vox wants. He wants you to fight each other. He wants you scared." Some of the crowd hesitated, but others shouted back, "Easy for you. You're royalty." Charlie's eyes stung. She did not deny it. "I know," she said. "And I'm sorry. I'm trying to use what I have to make something better. I can't do it alone." The crowd's anger shifted again, less focused, more confused. Vox's smile returned, wider. "Aw, a speech, great content." Charlie's hands clenched. Johnny stepped forward again. He looked up at the drone. He said, quiet but clear, "Come closer." Vox's voice paused for half a beat. "Excuse me?" Johnny didn't raise his voice. "Come closer," he repeated. "Let them see your face when you talk." The crowd looked between the drone and Johnny. Vox laughed too hard. "Oh, no thanks. I'm good right here." Johnny's skull turned back to the crowd. "He won't stand in front of you," Johnny said, "because he doesn't care if you live or die. He cares if you watch," the crowd murmured. Vox's smile twitched. Charlie felt the pivot. She grabbed it. "Please," she said. "Go home. If you're scared, come back when you're calm. If you want answers, we'll give them. But not like this." The front line hesitated. Then one demon lowered his weapon. Another turned away. A few more followed. Not everyone, but enough. Vox's voice turned annoyed. "Ugh, boo, where's the riot?" Alastair's smile sharpened. "Oh, Vox," Alastair said softly, "don't worry. We'll entertain you soon." Vox's screen drone backed up a little, like even a machine could feel a threat. The crowd slowly broke apart, angry and scared, but no longer a single wave. Charlie's knees felt weak. Vaggie guided her back inside. One hand on Charlie's arm like she was holding her up. Husk watched them come in and sighed. "Ad Dork almost got smashed by mob to the bill," he muttered. Charlie rubbed her eyes. Johnny stepped into the lobby last. Alastair watched him with bright interest. "You're becoming a symbol," Alastair said to Johnny, like it was a compliment. Johnny's voice was cold. "I don't want fans," Alastair chuckled. "No one in hell gets what they want, dear." Johnny's skull turned toward Alastair. "And you want control," Johnny said. Alastair's smile stayed. "I want entertainment." Johnny's fire flared slightly. "Same thing," Johnny said. For a second, Charlie thought they might actually fight. Then a deep, slow chill slid through the lobby like the air got thinner. Not from heaven, from something else. Johnny's skull lifted. His posture changed. Charlie felt it too. A pressure behind the walls, like a hand touching the world. Johnny's voice dropped. "He followed me," he said. Charlie's stomach dropped. "Who?" Johnny's skull turned slightly, like he was listening to a sound only he could hear. "A deal maker," he said. "A real one." Alastair's smile dimmed, just a hair. That tiny dimming scared Charlie more than his grin. Vaggie whispered, "That's not good." Johnny's chain tightened over his shoulder like a warning. "Tell your guests to stay inside," he said. Charlie swallowed hard. "Okay," she said. And somewhere far away, beyond Vox's towers and beyond the noisy streets, something ancient and smug smiled in the dark, as if it had just found a new playground. Angel Dust couldn't breathe right. He tried to pretend he was fine, because pretending was what he did best. He joked. He posed. He smiled. But his stomach was tight all day. Every time he blinked, he remembered Johnny's skull turning toward him. The calm voice. The words. "I can smell your sins." Angel had done a lot of bad things. Some of it he chose. Some of it, he didn't. Either way, the guilt sat in him like broken glass. He found himself in the hallway outside his room, leaning against the wall, trying to shake his hands until they stopped trembling. Vaggie spotted him. She didn't look gentle. She never did. But her voice was quieter than usual. "You okay?" she asked. Angel laughed. Too loud. "Totally," I love when Angel soldiers try to turn me into confetti, and a flaming skeleton guy moves in like he owns the place. Vaggie didn't smile. Angel's laugh died. He looked away. If he looks at me, Angel said, voice low. Like he looked at her. I'm done. Vaggie's eyes narrowed. He's not going to do that here. Angel didn't believe it. How do you know? Vaggie didn't have a good answer. She said, because Charlie said so. Angel swallowed. Charlie says a lot of stuff. Vaggie's jaw tightened. Yeah, and she means it. Angel stared at the floor. I don't want to be judged, he whispered. Vaggie's voice was sharp, but not cruel. Then don't give him a reason. Angel flinched, then laughed bitterly. Too late. Vaggie looked at him for a long beat. Then she said something Angel didn't expect. You don't have to fix everything in one day, Vaggie said. Just don't be alone when you're spiraling. Angel looked up, surprised. Vaggie walked away before he could say anything else. Angel stood there, breathing hard, and realized he didn't know what to do with a warning that sounded almost like care. Downstairs, Ghost Rider stood by the window, staring out into the street like the city was a crime scene. Charlie approached him slowly. Johnny, she said. He didn't turn. You're worried, he said. Charlie swallowed. Yes. Johnny's voice stayed calm. Good. Charlie blinked. Good? If you stop worrying, Johnny said, you stop fighting. Charlie didn't like how true it felt. She looked out the window, too. The street was quieter than usual, but not peaceful. More like a quiet before a bigger noise. I don't want you to become a weapon people point, Charlie said softly. Johnny's skull turned slightly toward her. I'm already a weapon, he said. Charlie shook her head. No. You're a person. Johnny's silence lasted long enough that Charlie thought he might not answer. Then he said, I used to think that mattered more. Charlie's throat tightened. Before she could respond, Husk yelled from the bar. Hey, Skull Guy! Johnny turned. Husk held up the notebook like it was a legal document. New total, Husk said. Front porch, door frame, car, wall, 1 science machine, 1 emotional breakdown. Pay when you can. Johnny walked over. He didn't argue. He didn't roll his eyes. He set another coin on the bar. Husk blinked, then coughed like he was trying not to sound impressed. Okay, Husk muttered. Keep it up. Charlie watched that and felt something strange. Johnny wasn't here to be loved, but he was doing something that looked like respect. And in hell, that was rare. Outside, Vox's screens kept playing the fight footage all day. His voice told the city a story. The hotel was dangerous, and danger was exciting. Valentino watched too. He leaned back in his chair, smoke curling around his fingers, eyes half-lidded. Cute, Valentino purred. A new toy. Velvet scrolled through comments and laughed. He's trending. Vox's smile sharpened. Trending is step 1. Valentino's grin widened. Step 2 is owning it. Vox's eyes glowed. Step 2 is trapping it. Velvet's voice was sweet. Step 3 is making sure everyone blames Charlie when it goes wrong. They all laughed. And on a high balcony somewhere else, Lucifer Morningstar watched the sky like he could see past it. He did not smile. He did not speak. But his fingers tapped the railing slowly, like he was counting. Because someone had brought heaven to his daughter's front door, and someone else had brought something older than this hell into his city. Johnny felt the pull again that night. Not a rope pulling his body, a hook pulling his spirit. It came with a smell he hated, sweet and rotten at the same time. Deals. He stood on the roof, looking out over Pentagram City's lights. Charlie climbed up after him, careful not to slip. The wind tugged at her hair. It's beautiful in a horrible way, Charlie said softly. Johnny didn't answer. Charlie leaned on the ledge beside him. You said someone followed you, she said. A deal maker. Johnny's skull turned slightly. He thinks he owns me, Johnny said. Charlie's stomach dropped. Is he an overlord? Johnny's voice was flat. Worse. Charlie didn't press with more labels. She had learned that sometimes names were like doors. Once you opened them, you couldn't close them. She asked instead, what does he want? Johnny looked out at the city. Control, he said. And proof. Charlie frowned. Proof of what? That hope is a lie, Johnny said. Charlie felt cold. Because of me, Johnny didn't deny it. Because you're trying to change the rules. Charlie swallowed. I can't stop, she said. Johnny's skull turned toward her. You won't, he corrected. Charlie met his stare, even though it made her skin prickle. No, she said. I won't. Johnny's fire flared a little brighter. Then he said, Then you need to see what hell really does. Charlie's brow furrowed. I live here. Johnny's voice was calm, but firm. You live in a palace, he said. This city lives in chains. Charlie flinched. Not because it was an insult, but because it was true. Johnny looked down toward Vox's glowing tower in the distance, where screens blinked like eyes. Your enemies don't fight fair, Johnny said. They fight by owning people. Charlie's chest tightened. She thought of angel dust, forcing smiles. She thought of husk, drinking like it was medicine. She thought of sinners outside screaming because they were afraid. What are you saying? Charlie asked. Johnny's chain shifted. I'm saying I'm not staying in the hotel to play nice, he said. I'm here to stop predators. Charlie's breath caught. Johnny, she said, careful. If you go after an overlord? Johnny turned fully toward her now. If I don't, he said, your hotel becomes a cage with a pretty sign. Charlie stared at him. Part of her wanted to say, no, we can do this with kindness. But another part of her knew kindness without protection was just a target. Johnny's voice dropped slightly. There's a man in this city, he said, who owns souls on paper and calls it love. Charlie's stomach turned. Valentino. She knew. She hated that she knew. Johnny continued. He hurts people. He breaks them. Then he sells what's left. Charlie whispered. Angel. Johnny didn't say his name. He didn't need to. Charlie's throat tightened. We're trying to help Angel, she said. Johnny's skull tilted. Trying, he repeated. Charlie's eyes stung. Then she made a choice that scared her. Okay, Charlie said. If you do this, you do it with limits. No killing guests. No hurting bystanders. And no making it worse for Angel. Johnny stared at her. Then he nodded once. I don't want him hurt, Johnny said. Charlie blinked, surprised. Johnny's voice was steady. I want him free. Charlie exhaled slowly. That's what I want too, she whispered. Johnny looked back out at the city. Then we move, he said. Charlie's eyes widened. Now? Johnny's skull turned slightly. The trail is fresh, he said. Charlie swallowed. Vaggy's going to explode, she muttered. Johnny didn't react. Charlie sighed. Okay, let me at least tell her. Vaggy did explode. Not with fire, with words. No, she said flatly in Charlie's office, hands planted on the desk. Absolutely not. Charlie held her ground. We can't just hide. Valentino is hurting people. Vox is stirring mobs. Heaven is watching us. This is going to come to us either way. Vaggy's eyes snapped toward Johnny, who stood near the door like a quiet threat. This is his plan, Vaggy said. He wants to go hunt. That's what he does. Fine. But you don't go with him. Charlie's voice rose. I'm not sending him out alone like a weapon. He's a guest, and I'm the one who invited him in. Vaggy clenched her jaw. You invited a walking judgment bomb into our home. Charlie swallowed, then said it anyway. He saved us. Vaggie's eyes flashed. And he could burn us. Johnny spoke for the first time in the room, voice calm. I won't, he said. Vaggie's eyes narrowed. You can't promise that. Johnny's skull turned toward her. I can, he said, because I'm not here to punish the innocent. Vaggie scoffed. In hell? Johnny didn't flinch. In any world, he said. Charlie watched Vaggie's face. Vaggie didn't trust him. But she could hear the truth in the tone. Johnny didn't talk like a liar. Vaggie's voice dropped, sharp with fear. If you go after Valentino, she said, you start a war with the V's. They don't fight like soldiers. They fight like rats. They'll hit us where it hurts. Charlie nodded slowly. I know. Vaggie's eyes softened for a second. Just a crack. Charlie, she whispered. You're my... She stopped herself. Charlie's chest tightened. I know, Charlie said softly. But I can't watch Angel suffer and do nothing. Vaggie's shoulders sagged a little, angry and helpless at the same time. Then she straightened. Fine, Vaggie said. If you're going, you're not going without me. Charlie blinked. Vaggie. Vaggie grabbed her spear. I'm not letting you walk into a trap with a flaming stranger, Johnny said. It will be a trap. Vaggie glared at him. Then you better be worth it. Husk shouted from down the hall. If you're going to start a war, at least bring back receipts. Angel Dust appeared in the doorway like he'd been listening the whole time, which he had. His grin was forced. So, we're doing this? We're going to poke Valentino. Charlie's voice softened. Angel, you don't have to come. Angel's grin cracked. He looked at Johnny. He swallowed. If you break my contract, Angel said, trying to sound casual, I'm buying you a skull polish kit. Johnny's skull turned toward him. I'm not doing this for gifts, Johnny said. Angel laughed too fast. Yeah, I figured. Charlie stepped closer to Angel. You only come if you feel safe, Charlie said. Angel's eyes flicked away. Safe, sure, that's a word. Vaggie looked at Angel, then sighed. Stay close, she said. And don't mouth off. Angel smirked weakly. No promises. Johnny's chain shifted. Move, Johnny said. And then he walked out like the decision was already made. The ride through Pentagram City felt like stepping into a different layer of hell. Not the noisy street near the hotel. This part was all neon and screens and loud music that tried to drown out the screams behind closed doors. Vox's towers loomed like glowing teeth. Valentino's club was a giant building with a sign that pulsed like a heartbeat. Angel Dust stood behind Charlie and Vaggie as they moved through an alley, keeping to shadows. Johnny walked at the front, chain loose at his side. He didn't hide. He didn't need to. The air around him made demons step away without thinking. Charlie's heart pounded. She kept looking up, half expecting heaven to drop again. Vaggie noticed. They're not coming right now, Vaggie muttered. This is hell's game. Charlie swallowed. That doesn't make me feel better. Angel Dust tried to joke. Look on the bright side. At least we won't get stabbed by angels. We'll get stabbed by everyone else. Vaggie shot him a look. Shut up. Angel held up his hands. Okay. They reached the edge of the district. A screen on a nearby wall flickered. Vox's face appeared, smiling. Charlie's stomach dropped. Hello again, Vox said, cheerful. Aren't you brave, Charlie? Vaggie hissed. He's tracking us. Angel Dust's face went pale. Told you, rats. Johnny looked at the screen. Vox's smile widened. Oh, and the skull guy. Love the look. Very marketable. Charlie snapped. Vox, stop! Vox laughed. Stop? Why would I stop when you're giving me the best show in hell? The screen blinked off. Charlie's hands clenched. Vaggie whispered. He's hurting us. Johnny's voice stayed calm. Let him, Johnny said. He's bringing me to the target faster. Angel Dust swallowed. Or he's bringing the target to us. Johnny didn't deny it. They moved forward anyway, because Angel Dust's chains were not going to break themselves. Valentino's club door opened before they touched it. A demon bouncer stepped aside like he'd been told. Inside, the air was thick with perfume and smoke and laughter that didn't sound real. Screens lined the walls, cameras turned with soft whirs. Charlie's chest tightened. It's staged, she whispered. Vaggie's eyes narrowed. Of course it is. They walked into a wide room with a long stage and velvet curtains. Valentino sat in a chair at the far end, like a king in a cheap palace. He smiled like he'd been waiting for this moment all day. Angel Dust stiffened. Charlie felt Angel's fear like heat behind her. Valentino's eyes drifted over Charlie, then Vaggie, then Johnny. His smile widened. Well, Valentino purred, voice smooth and nasty. This is a party. He stood, arms open, acting like a host. Princess, he said to Charlie, you brought me gifts. Charlie's voice shook, but she kept it steady. Let Angel go. Valentino laughed softly. Straight to business? How adorable. His eyes slid to Angel. Angel tried to smirk. Hey, Val. Valentino's smile sharpened. Angel, he said, sweet. You didn't tell me you were making new friends. Angel's throat bobbed. Johnny stepped forward. The room's cameras turned toward him like hungry eyes. Valentino's gaze moved to the flaming skull. Okay, Valentino said, pretending to be impressed. That's dramatic. Is this your new boyfriend, Angel? Angel's face twisted. Charlie snapped. Enough. Valentino's smile didn't change. He raised a hand, and from the ceiling, screens dropped down, surrounding the room in a ring. Vox's face appeared on everyone. Oh, Vox said, delighted. Here we go. Charlie's stomach dropped. Vox! Vox's voice cut her off. Smile, Charlie. Hell is watching. Velvet's voice came through next, like a commentary. This angle is better, she said. Make sure the skull is centered. Charlie's blood ran cold. They weren't just trapping them. They were filming them. Valentino stepped closer, eyes on Johnny. You're strong, Valentino said. I can tell. That's a nice chain. I bet you like control. Johnny's voice was flat. I hate it. Valentino laughed. Liar, everyone likes control. Johnny took one more step forward. The heat in the room rose. The curtains behind Valentino fluttered from the sudden wave of warmth. Valentino's smile tightened. Then he snapped his fingers. The floor lit up. Lines appeared. Symbols, circles, and bright shapes that looked like neon tattoos on the ground. Charlie's breath caught. A sigil. Vaggie's eyes narrowed. They planned this. Vox's voice chimed in, cheerful. We borrowed some ideas, you know. Tech, magic, a little angel metal. It's a mixed media cage. Johnny looked down at the glowing lines. His chain shifted. He didn't look scared. He looked annoyed. Valentino leaned in, voice low and cruel. Angel, Valentino said. Be a good boy. Tell your new friends what happens when you disobey. Angel's eyes flashed with shame and anger. Charlie's hands clenched. Vaggie's spear lifted. Johnny's skull turned toward Angel. Not judging, just asking with silence. Angel swallowed. He can make me. Angel started, then stopped. Valentino smiled. Say it. Angel's voice dropped to a whisper. He can make me do things, if I don't follow the contract. Charlie's chest hurt. Johnny's fire flared. Valentino raised both hands like he was innocent. Paperwork, Valentino said brightly. It's not my fault if Angel signed something silly. Charlie's voice rose, fierce. You tricked him. Valentino shrugged. Maybe. Maybe not. Either way, I own the signature. Vox's voice laughed. Contracts, baby. Johnny stepped forward again. The sigil on the floor pulsed. A wave of cold force hit Johnny's legs like a wall. It didn't knock him down, but it held him. The camera zoomed in. Vox's voice purred. Look at that, it works. Velvet giggled. He's stuck. Cute. Valentino leaned closer, smelling victory. Now, Valentino said, here's the deal. You want Angel? Pay. Charlie snapped. No. Valentino ignored her. He looked at Johnny. You're powerful, Valentino said. I can use that. I can sell that. I can make a fortune. Johnny's voice stayed calm. You're a parasite, Johnny said. Valentino laughed. And you're a weapon. So let's be practical. Johnny's skull tilted. I don't bargain with slavers, Johnny said. Valentino's smile cracked for half a second. Then he snapped his fingers again. Angel Dust's body jerked. Angel gasped. Face twisting like pain grabbed him from inside. Charlie lunged forward. Stop! Vaggie moved with her spear, but a wall of shimmering light rose between them and Valentino. Tech and magic blended into a hard barrier. Vox's voice sang. No touching the talent. Charlie's hands glowed red. She pushed against the barrier. It held. Valentino leaned close to Angel, whispering into his ear. Angel's eyes watered. His jaw clenched. Charlie's rage climbed fast. Then Johnny spoke, voice deeper. Let him go, Johnny said. Valentino smirked. Or what? You'll burn me? On camera? Great, do it. Make my case for me. Vox laughed. Yes, violence. We love violence. Johnny didn't move. He stared at Valentino. Not the full stare yet, just attention. You like cameras, Johnny said. Valentino grinned. I like money. Johnny's skull turned slightly, like he was thinking. Then he said something that made Charlie's skin prickle. You're not the biggest chain in this room, Johnny said. Valentino's smile stiffened. Vox's face on the screens twitched, like he didn't like the line. Velvet's voice got sharp. He's trying to flip the story. Valentino snapped. Shut up! Johnny's chain shifted. It moved on its own, sliding across the floor like a snake, even though the sigil was meant to lock him. The chain didn't care. It was not his power alone. It was the spirit's. The chain slipped into the glowing lines, links scraping sparks, and then snapped upward. It wrapped around a metal beam above, yanking hard. The beam tore loose with a screech. The ceiling cracked. Dust fell. The room shook. The sigil flickered. Vox's voice rose, surprised. Wait, Johnny used the flicker. He stepped forward with pure force. The sigil pushed back. He pushed harder. The glowing lines cracked like glass. Charlie stared, shocked. He's breaking it! Vaggie's eyes widened. That cage wasn't built for him. Johnny broke through the last line and the sigil died. The heat in the room surged like a wave. Valentino's smile vanished. Okay, Valentino said, voice tight. New plan. He snapped his fingers again. Angel Dust jerked and stumbled forward like he was pulled on strings. Angel's eyes were wide with panic. Valentino shoved Angel toward Johnny like a shield. Oops, Valentino said sweetly. Careful, Skull Guy. Wouldn't want to hurt your little project. Charlie's heart jumped. Angel. Johnny moved fast. He grabbed Angel by the shoulder, firm, not rough, and pulled him behind his own body. Johnny's chain snapped out and wrapped around Valentino's wrist. Valentino gasped, startled, then snarled. The chain tightened. Valentino's feet left the floor for a moment. He slammed into the stage. Cameras zoomed in. Hungry. Vox's voice screamed with joy. Yes! Charlie saw the trap now. They wanted Johnny to go too far. They wanted him to look like the monster. Johnny didn't crush Valentino's bones. He didn't tear him apart. He just dragged him close. Johnny leaned in. skull inches from Valentino's face. Valentino's eyes widened. For a split second, his confidence cracked. He knew what was coming. He tried to look away. Johnny's free hand grabbed Valentino's chin and forced his face up. "Look," Johnny said. Valentino's mouth opened to protest. Then Johnny used the penance stare. Charlie felt it like a pressure wave, not on her eyes, but on the room. Valentino's face changed. Not fear like a normal person. Something deeper. His pupils shook. His smile died. His lips trembled. He saw everything he'd done. He saw every person he'd broken. He saw it all from their side. Valentino's body went stiff, like a puppet with cut strings. He made a sound that was half laugh, half sob, and then he slammed his head back like he was trying to escape the memory inside his skull. Charlie watched, breath locked. Vaggie watched, jaw tight. Angel Dust watched, shaking. And for a second, he looked like he wanted it to happen. Like he wanted Valentino to finally feel it. Then Valentino's eyes snapped open again, wild. He screamed. Not a cool villain scream. A real one. He shoved back, stumbling away from Johnny, hands clawing at his own face, like he wanted to rip the feeling off. The cameras captured it all. Vox's voice went quiet for half a beat. Velvet whispered, shocked. "What is that?" Vox recovered fast. "Amazing! Horrifying! Everyone, clip that!" Charlie realized the danger. Now, Vox had proof of Johnny doing judgment on camera. Now, Vox could spin it as torture. Valentino fell to his knees, panting, eyes wet with rage and horror. He looked up at Angel with hate. "You," he rasped, voice broken. "You did this." Angel flinched like he'd been slapped. Johnny stepped between them. "Wrong," Johnny said. "You did." Valentino's hand shook as he reached into his coat. He pulled out a paper, folded, stamped with demonic seals. A contract. Angel's face went white. Charlie's chest tightened. Valentino's voice turned sharp, desperate. "You want him free?" Valentino hissed at Johnny. "Burn this. Go ahead, burn it." Vox's screens brightened. "This is it," Vox said. "Do it. Light it up." Charlie saw the setup. If Johnny burned a contract on live broadcast, it could shake Hell's whole system. It could also turn every overlord against the hotel in one night. Johnny stared at the paper. His fire flared. He reached out. Charlie whispered, "Johnny." Johnny's fingers touched the contract. Hellfire crawled over the paper. For a second, the seals resisted, glowing brighter, fighting back like living things. Angel stared, breath shaking. "Please," Angel whispered. Johnny's voice was low. "I'm trying." The contract burned, but it didn't turn to ash. It blackened, cracked, and then stopped, like something invisible grabbed the flame by the throat. A new symbol appeared on the paper, older than Valentino's stamp. Charlie's stomach dropped. Johnny's skull lifted. He recognized it. The air in the room went cold, even with the fire. Vox's screens flickered. Velvet's voice went quiet. Valentino stared at the new symbol, confused. "What is that?" Valentino whispered. Johnny's voice came out like a warning. "Not your deal," Johnny said. "Not your chain." Charlie's hands shook. "Johnny, what does that mean?" Johnny didn't answer her yet, because the room changed. The lights dimmed. The screens warped. A soft laugh rolled through the air, too smooth, too pleased. And a voice that didn't belong to Vox or Valentino spoke from everywhere at once. "Well," the voice said warmly, "this is awkward." Charlie's skin went ice cold. Vaggie raised her spear, eyes wide. Angel Dust backed up until he hit a wall. Even a Laster, on a screen feed somewhere, would have noticed that tone. Johnny turned his burning skull toward the dark space behind the stage. A figure stepped out like he had always been there. He looked like a gentleman. Too clean. too calm, too pleased. His eyes held a kind of hunger that wasn't loud. Mephisto smiled. "Johnny," Mephisto said softly, like greeting an old friend. "You left your leash behind." Johnny's fire flared violently. The whole room shook. Vox's screens glitched, his face flashing in broken pieces. "Whoa, what?" Vox stammered, suddenly less in control. Mephisto's gaze slid to the screens with mild annoyance. "Oh," Mephisto said, bored. "Media." With a simple flick of his fingers, every screen went black. Silence hit the room like a drop. Valentino stared, horrified now, because he realized he wasn't in charge anymore. Charlie's heart hammered. Mephisto looked at Charlie like she was a curiosity. "And you," Mephisto said, smiling, "must be the princess with the little hotel." Charlie's voice shook. "Who are you?" Mephisto chuckled. "A businessman." Vaggie snarled. "We don't want business." Mephisto's smile widened. Nobody ever does, not at first. Johnny stepped forward, chain lifting. "You don't get to touch them," Johnny said. Mephisto sighed, like Johnny was tiring. "Always so protective," Mephisto said. "It's sweet. It's also pointless." Johnny's voice dropped. "You pulled me here," Johnny said. Mephisto's eyes gleamed. I nudged. This hell was loud. It was interesting. And it had a hopeful little project that makes heaven angry. Charlie's stomach dropped. "You used us." Mephisto's smile stayed gentle. "I used opportunities." Angel dust trembled. "What about my contract?" Mephisto glanced at Angel, then at the paper in Valentino's hand. "Oh," Mephisto said, amused. "That little chain? That's not even my best work." Valentino choked. Your work?" Mephisto leaned toward Valentino, eyes kind and cruel at once. "Valentino," Mephisto said softly, "you play with paperwork. I play with souls." Valentino looked like he might vomit. Johnny's fire roared. Mephisto's gaze returned to Johnny. "I can end this for you," Mephisto said, voice smooth. "I can unhook you. I can give you quiet. I can give you control." Charlie's breath caught. Vaggie whispered, "Charlie, this is bad." Johnny didn't blink. He didn't hesitate. "No," Johnny said. Mephisto's smile didn't fade. "Still stubborn." Johnny's chain snapped out toward Mephisto. It hit nothing. Mephisto wasn't there. He was suddenly behind Johnny, like space had folded. Mephisto leaned close to Johnny's flaming skull, whispering like a secret. "You can't save them all," Mephisto said, "but you can choose who to lose." Johnny spun, chain sweeping. Mephisto stepped back. Still smiling, Charlie's mind raced. "We have to leave," she whispered. Vaggie nodded. "Now?" Johnny's voice cut through, firm. "Go," Johnny told Charlie. "Take Angel." Charlie hesitated. "Johnny." "Go," Johnny repeated, louder. Charlie grabbed Angel's arm. Angel flinched, then followed, half running. Vaggie backed up with her spear, guarding them. Valentino tried to crawl away too, but the stage floor cracked under him, like the room itself rejected him. Mephisto laughed softly. "Oh, no," Mephisto said. "Valentino, you're staying. We have to talk about your ownership." Valentino screamed, scrambling. Johnny stepped between Mephisto and the exit path, fire blazing. He didn't look at Charlie again. He trusted her to move. Charlie hated that she had to. She ran, pulling Angel with her, Vaggie covering the rear. They burst out of the club into the night air. Behind them, the building shook. A wave of heat rolled out, then stopped, contained like a lid had been slammed on a pot. Charlie's lungs burned. Angel Dust leaned against a wall, panting, eyes wide. "Is he?" Angel started, voice shaking. Charlie swallowed hard. "He's alive!" Vaggie's voice was tight. "And he just met something worse than Vox." Charlie looked back at the club, eyes wet. What did we just step into? She whispered. Angel stared at his own hands like he didn't recognize them. My chain, Angel whispered. It didn't break. Charlie's chest hurt. But she saw something else too. When Johnny burned the contract, it changed. It cracked. Not free, but not whole. Charlie grabbed onto that tiny crack like it was a rope. We did something, she said, voice shaking. We did. Angel laughed once, broken and bitter. Yeah, he said. And now the whole city is going to want our heads. Vaggie glanced up at the skyline. The screens were dark for now, but she knew Vox. He would come back louder. Charlie looked at the club again. She could still feel the pressure of Mephisto's presence, like a hand on the city. And she knew this wasn't just about a hotel anymore. This was about who got to own souls in hell, and who didn't. The club did not sound like a club anymore. The music had died. The lights were dim. The air felt heavy, like the room was holding its breath. Mephisto stood near the stage with a calm smile. Ghost Rider stood between him and the exit, fire steady, chain loose but ready. Valentino was on the floor, crawling backward like his legs had forgotten how to act tough. Mephisto glanced at him and sighed. Honestly, Mephisto said, almost bored. You make deals like a child scribbling on a wall, and then you call it art. Valentino tried to speak. Only a weak noise came out. Ghost Rider didn't look at Valentino at all. His attention stayed on Mephisto. You used his paper, Johnny said. Mephisto's eyes gleamed. I used a doorway that was already open. Johnny's voice was low. Close it. Mephisto chuckled. That's not how doors work, Johnny. Not when the handle is gilt. Ghost Rider's chain lifted, links clicking like teeth. Mephisto spread his hands, as if he was offering peace. I'm not here to fight you, Mephisto said. I'm here to solve your little problem. Johnny didn't move. My problem is you. Mephisto smiled wider. And yet I can give you what you've wanted for so long. He stepped closer. The heat from Johnny did nothing to him. Quiet, Mephisto whispered. Sleep, a normal face, a normal life. No screaming souls in your head. No hunger for vengeance crawling under your skin. Johnny's fire flared. For a split second, the room shook. Mephisto didn't blink. He only added, softer. And I can send you home. Valentino looked up at that last part, confused and scared, like he finally understood this was bigger than his little kingdom. Johnny's skull turned slightly, like he was listening to something far away. You can't give without taking, Johnny said. Mephisto's smile stayed sweet. Of course I can. I just don't. Johnny's chain snapped out. It wrapped around Mephisto's wrist. For one moment, it looked like it worked. The chain tightened, glowing hot, burning symbols into the metal. Mephisto looked down at it like it was an annoying bracelet. Then he pulled. The chain dragged Johnny forward instead. Mephisto leaned in close, voice like silk over a knife. You can't hurt me the way you hurt little monsters, Mephisto said. Not here. Not like this. Johnny planted his boots and stopped the pull. The floor cracked under his feet. The flames around his skull surged higher. I don't need to hurt you, Johnny said. I need to stop you. Mephisto tilted his head. Stop me from what? From fixing this place? He gestured toward the walls, toward the city outside. This hell is already sick, Mephisto said. It just pretends it's fine. Your princess wants to cure it with hugs and speeches. Adorable. But a cure needs power. Johnny's voice stayed steady. She has courage. Mephisto laughed softly. Courage is not power. It's just what you use when you have none. Johnny's fire flared again, sharper this time. Mephisto held up one finger, like a teacher. But you, Mephisto said, eyes bright. You have power. Real power. The kind that makes heaven blink. He leaned closer. Come with me, he whispered. Leave this little hotel to burn. Let the sinners scream like they always do. You don't owe them anything. Johnny's chain tightened again. For a moment, Valentino stopped crawling. He stared at Johnny like he was waiting to see which way the fire would turn. Johnny answered without hesitation. No, he said. Mephisto's smile didn't fade, but his eyes hardened. You always pick the hard road, Mephisto said. Johnny's voice was quiet. I pick the right one. Mephisto's gaze slid toward the blackened contract that still lay on the stage, cracked and marked with an older symbol. He waved his hand gently, like he was smoothing a tablecloth. The contract rose into the air and floated toward him. Valentino whimpered. Mephisto didn't even look at Valentino as he took the paper. This, Mephisto said, is my anchor now. A link into this hell. A small one, but enough. Johnny stepped forward, chain lifting. Mephisto smiled like he'd been waiting. And here's the fun part, Mephisto said. You can try to burn it again. But if you do it the wrong way, you burn the boy it belongs to. Johnny froze. His fire didn't dim, but his body went still. Mephisto's voice softened, pleased. There he is, Mephisto whispered. The weakness, not fear, not pain. Care. Johnny's voice was low, dangerous. Don't touch him. Mephisto shrugged. Then don't force my hand. The contract hovered between them like a hostage with ink. Johnny stared at it. Then he did something Mephisto didn't expect. He lowered his chain. Mephisto blinked, amused. Giving up? Johnny's voice stayed calm but firm. I'm not burning it here, Johnny said. Not in your theater. Not with your rules. Mephisto's smile widened. Ah, strategy. Look at you. Johnny stepped back half a step, still blocking the exit. You want me to choose, Johnny said. Fine. I choose to protect them. Mephisto's eyes narrowed slightly. And how do you protect them from me, Johnny? Johnny's skull tilted, as if he had heard something in the city. Then he said, by reminding you whose hell this is. Mephisto laughed once, sharp. Oh? The air changed. Not colder, not hotter, just heavier. Like a much bigger presence had walked into the room without opening a door. Mephisto's smile paused. Valentino's eyes went wide. A new voice spoke from the shadows near the curtains, calm and annoyed at the same time. Okay, the voice said. Who invited the off-brand deal devil into my city? Lucifer Morningstar stepped out like he owned the room, because he did. He didn't look rushed. He didn't look afraid. He looked like a king who had been interrupted during a bad day. His eyes flicked to Valentino on the floor. Ugh, Lucifer muttered. Gross. Then his gaze moved to Mephisto. Lucifer smiled. It wasn't a friendly smile. Mephisto, Lucifer said, like he was tasting the name. I've heard of you. Mephisto's smile returned, smaller now. Careful. And I, Mephisto said with polite charm, have heard of you. Your Majesty. Lucifer glanced at Ghost Rider. Then he glanced back to Mephisto. So, Lucifer said, voice light. You're the reason heaven started sniffing around my daughter's hotel even harder. Mephisto raised a hand. Heaven was sniffing anyway. Lucifer's eyes sharpened. And you made it worse. Mephisto sighed, like he was dealing with a stubborn client. I saw opportunity, Mephisto said. Your daughter's project is bold. It shakes a system. Systems shake and deals fall out. Lucifer took one step forward. The air bent slightly around him. The lights flickered once, not from power failure, but from power arriving. "This is my system," Lucifer said, still calm. "My mess. My problem." Mephisto held up the cracked contract between his fingers. "And yet," Mephisto said, "I have a legal foothold now." Lucifer's smile grew. "Oh," Lucifer said, "we're doing legal?" He snapped his fingers. The contract froze in midair. Not in Mephisto's hand anymore. Just hanging. Pinned. Mephisto's eyes narrowed. Lucifer walked up to the floating paper and leaned close like he was reading fine print. He made a face. "This is sloppy," Lucifer said. "Even for hell." Valentino whimpered. "It's not." Lucifer shot him a look. Valentino shut up. Lucifer tapped the paper once. A red glow pulsed through the old mark. The mark didn't vanish, but it reacted, like it had been poked. Mephisto's smile turned tight. "That mark is mine," Mephisto said. Lucifer looked back at him, bored. "Not anymore." Mephisto's voice stayed polite, but a threat lived under it. "You can't steal what's bound," Mephisto said. Lucifer's eyes gleamed. "I'm not stealing," Lucifer said. "I'm evicting." He turned his head slightly, speaking like he was making a simple rule. "Mephisto," Lucifer said, "you don't get to build a business inside my hell without my permission." Mephisto's smile returned, controlled. "And what do you want for permission?" he asked. Lucifer laughed once. "I want you gone," Lucifer said. Mephisto's gaze slid to Ghost Rider. "And the rider?" Mephisto asked. "He's not yours either." Lucifer shrugged. "He's not from here." "That's true." Then Lucifer's eyes sharpened again. "But he is standing in my city," Lucifer said, "protecting my daughter's stupid little dream." He glanced toward Johnny. Lucifer's tone was strange, like he didn't want to sound proud, but it slipped out anyway. "That counts for something." Johnny didn't bow. He didn't thank him. He only said, "He's using a chain to get into your hell." Lucifer nodded once. "I noticed," Lucifer said. Then he looked at Mephisto and smiled again. "Here's the deal," Lucifer said, voice light, like he was mocking the word. "You leave. You don't touch my daughter. You don't touch her hotel. You don't touch her guests." Mephisto tilted his head. "And what do I get?" Lucifer's smile widened. "You get to keep existing," Lucifer said. Mephisto's eyes narrowed. For the first time, real irritation showed. "You can't kill me," Mephisto said. Lucifer's smile stayed. "No," Lucifer admitted, "but I can make your time here very unpleasant." Mephisto looked at the floating contract again. He looked at Johnny. He looked at Valentino shaking on the floor. He weighed his options. Then he sighed, like someone who didn't like the price but could pay it. "Fine," Mephisto said smoothly. "I'll step back." Lucifer's eyes stayed sharp. "And the mark?" Lucifer asked. Mephisto smiled softly. "A souvenir." Lucifer's voice dropped. "Remove it." Mephisto's smile didn't move, but his eyes hardened. "Not everything comes off clean," Mephisto said. "Some scars are useful." Johnny's fire flared. Lucifer lifted one hand, stopping Johnny without even looking. "Easy," Lucifer said to Johnny, like he was talking to a big dog. Then Lucifer faced Mephisto. "I will allow one thing," Lucifer said. "One." Mephisto's eyes gleamed. Lucifer tapped the contract again. The old mark cracked further. Not broken, but weakened. "I won't let you hold him like a leash," Lucifer said. "You can keep your little stain, but you don't get full control." Mephisto's smile returned, satisfied enough. "A compromise," Mephisto said. "How very royal." Lucifer's eyes narrowed. "Leave." Mephisto stepped back, still smiling. He looked at Johnny one last time. "This isn't finished," Mephisto said quietly. "You'll come to me when you're tired." Johnny's answer was immediate. "No," he said. Mephisto chuckled. Then he vanished like a candle being snuffed out. The air lightened slightly, like a weight had been removed. Valentino tried to crawl away again. Lucifer sighed. "Oh my God," Lucifer muttered. He waved his hand. A red force grabbed Valentino by the collar and dragged him upright like a rag doll. Valentino squeaked. Lucifer stared him down. "You," Lucifer said, voice calm and deadly, "are a problem." Valentino tried to smile. It was a terrible smile. "Your Majesty," Valentino stammered, "I can explain." Lucifer didn't let him. He tossed Valentino across the room into a wall. Valentino slumped, groaning. Lucifer turned toward Johnny. "And you," Lucifer said, "need to stop breaking buildings." Johnny's skull tilted. "Tell your overlords to stop building cages." Lucifer stared, then laughed once, sharp and tired. "Fair," Lucifer said. He flicked his fingers. The club doors blasted open without touching them. "Go," Lucifer said, looking toward the hallway where Charlie had fled. "Before this place collapses." Johnny didn't waste time. He turned and walked out. Behind him, Lucifer stood alone in the club like a king cleaning up someone else's trash. 2 weeks later, the block around the Hazbin Hotel felt different. Not safe. Nothing in hell was safe. But quieter. People still yelled. Cars still crashed. Deals still happened in dark corners. Yet when someone started trouble too close to the hotel, the trouble often stopped. Because sometimes, late at night, a motorcycle rode past with tires made of fire. The flames never spread beyond the track. They drew a line, a warning line, and if someone crossed it to hurt someone weaker, they sometimes heard chains. Charlie called it a miracle. Vaggie called it a security upgrade. Husk called it a liability with good timing. Johnny didn't call it anything. He just did it. Charlie stood in the lobby one afternoon, watching Nifty scrub a scorch mark that had appeared near the stairs. Nifty hummed happily. "I love that he makes new marks," Nifty said. "It's like the building is alive." Charlie forced a smile. "Please don't say that." Husk leaned on the bar with his notebook. He flipped it open and tapped the page. "New total," Husk said. Charlie groaned softly. Husk didn't care. Front window, roof patch, 2 hallway lamps, 1 couch. Angel Dust raised a hand from the couch without looking up. "That couch was already ugly," Angel said. Husk snapped. "Still counts." Johnny stepped into the lobby from the front door, heat rolling in with him like he brought his own weather. His skull burned steady. His chain rested on his shoulder. Husk held out the notebook like it was a bill at a restaurant. Johnny walked to the bar. Without a word, he set down 3 burned coins. Husk stared, then slowly closed the notebook like it had been defeated. "All right," Husk muttered. "He pays." Angel sat up a little, eyes following Johnny. Angel didn't flinch as much now. He still looked away sometimes when Johnny's skull turned in his direction. But he didn't run. That alone was progress. Charlie watched Angel's hands. She noticed he wore gloves more often now, like he didn't want to feel anything, like he was afraid his own skin would tell the truth. Vaggie walked in from the hallway with a roll of blueprints and a bag of tools. She looked tired, but focused. "New reinforcements are up," Vaggie said. "Back hall, roof access, and the hidden exit is clear." Charlie nodded. "Thank you." Vaggie glanced at Johnny. "You didn't bring trouble home?" Vaggie asked. Johnny's voice was calm. "Not today." Vaggie exhaled like she'd been holding her breath all day. Charlie stepped closer to Johnny. "How are you holding up?" Charlie asked softly. Johnny's skull turned slightly. "The spirit is restless," he said. Charlie's chest tightened. "Because of Mephisto?" Johnny didn't answer right away. He stared at the hotel's front door as if he could see through it. Then he said, "Because hell is loud." Charlie nodded slowly. "We're trying to make it less loud," she whispered. Johnny looked at her. "You're making it louder," he said. Charlie blinked, confused. "What?" Johnny's voice stayed steady. "Hope is a challenge," he said. "Hell hates challenges." Charlie swallowed. "So you think I should stop?" Johnny's skull tilted. "No," he said. Charlie's eyes stung. "Why not?" Johnny's answer was simple. "Because you mean it," he said. Charlie let out a shaky breath. Vaggie watched them for a second, then looked away like she didn't want to see Charlie's face soften too much. At the bar, Husk muttered, "If we're doing hope, can we do hope that pays rent?" Angel snorted weakly. "Good luck." The joke helped. A little. But the city wasn't joking. Across Pentagram City, Vox had not stopped. His screens came back stronger the day after Mephisto's blackout. He called it an attack on free media. He acted offended, which made his fans love him more. He ran the footage of Valentino screaming again and again, but he edited it. He never called it judgment. He called it torture. He framed Charlie as a leader of a danger cult. He framed Ghost Rider as her pet weapon. And he framed Heaven's early raid as proof the hotel was a threat. Velvet pushed the trend hard. Valentino didn't appear on camera much anymore, not after what happened. But Charlie could feel him out there, angry and wounded, like a snake that had been stepped on. Then, 3 days into the second week, a package arrived at the hotel. It was small. No name. No return mark. Vaggie refused to let Charlie touch it. Vaggie opened it with the tip of her spear. Inside was a single sheet of paper. Husk leaned over, squinting. Charlie read it and felt cold. It was a flyer. Bright. Smiling. Vox's face right at the top. It said there would be a live charity event outside the hotel that night. It didn't say riot. But it didn't have to. At the bottom, in tiny print, was one sentence. "Come see the Skull Judge decide who deserves to live." Charlie's hand shook. Vaggie crumpled the flyer. "He's pushing them," Vaggie said. "He wants a crowd again." Angel's voice was small. "He wants blood." Johnny stood behind them, silent. Then he said, "He wants me to choose wrong." Charlie looked up at him. "What do you mean?" Johnny's skull turned toward her. "He's baiting me," Johnny said. "If I attack the crowd, I become the monster on his screen. If I don't, the crowd hurts you." Charlie swallowed. Vaggie's voice was sharp. "Then we don't let a crowd form." Husk muttered, "Good luck with that." Charlie's mind raced. "We can talk to them again," Vaggie snapped, "and get you stabbed again." Johnny's chain shifted. He said, "We can change the battlefield." Charlie looked at him. "How?" Johnny's voice stayed calm. "Bring them inside." Vaggie stared. "No." Charlie blinked. "Inside?" Johnny nodded once. "If they want to see me," he said. "They see me on your terms, in your rules." Husk raised his mug. "That's insane." Angel muttered, "That's actually kind of smart." Vaggie's eyes narrowed at Angel. "Don't encourage him." Charlie's heart pounded. It was risky. Everything was risky. But hiding had never helped them. Charlie took a breath. "Okay," she said. "We do a public meeting. In the lobby. With security. With exits. With rules." Vaggie's face tightened. "Charlie." Charlie grabbed Vaggie's hand. "Trust me," Charlie said. "Please." Vaggie held her stare. Then she nodded once, tight. "Fine," Vaggie said. "But I'm putting barriers up, and if anyone moves wrong, they're out." Husk sighed. "And I'm charging admission." Charlie shot him a look. Husk shrugged. "Kidding." "Mostly." Johnny turned toward the stairs. "I'll be ready," he said. Charlie's voice softened. "Johnny, no penance stare. Not on a crowd." Johnny paused. He didn't turn around. He just said, "I know." That night, people came. Not dozens, hundreds. They packed the street outside the Hazbin hotel. Some were angry. Some were curious. Some were just there because Vox told them it would be exciting. And above them, like bright eyes, floating screen drones hovered, projecting Vox's grin onto the air. "Hello!" Vox's voice boomed over speakers. "We are live!" Charlie stood at the front of the lobby, behind a new metal barrier Vaggie had installed. Vaggie stood beside her, spear ready, jaw set. Angel Dust stood a few steps behind them, arms crossed, trying to look cool. His eyes were nervous. Husk stood at the bar with his notebook, because of course he did. Nifty sat on a chair like it was front row theater. Alastair stood in the corner, smiling like he'd been waiting for this. And then Johnny walked into the lobby. The crowd outside pressed closer to the windows. The heat fogged the glass. A few demons stepped back on instinct. Charlie lifted her voice, loud and clear. "Welcome," she said. "This is a hotel. If you came to fight, leave. If you came for answers, stay calm." Laughter came from outside. Vox's voice cut in, cheerful. "Ah, Princess Charlie doing crowd control. Cute." Charlie kept going anyway. "We were attacked early by heaven," Charlie said. "Not because of Johnny, not because of you. Because heaven hates the idea that any sinner can change." Boos rose. Some cheered. Vox laughed. "Tell them more, Charlie. Give us that hot political content." Charlie ignored him. "You think we're dangerous," Charlie said. "So we're going to talk about danger honestly." She turned slightly toward Johnny. "This is Johnny," Charlie said. "He calls himself Ghost Rider." The crowd murmured. Phones and cameras rose. Charlie continued. "He is not an overlord. He is not here to rule you. He is here because something pulled him into this world." Vox's voice sang. "Or because the hotel summoned him," Vaggie snarled under her breath. Charlie raised her hand. "And the truth is," Charlie said, voice steady, "some of you are afraid because you've been hurt. And some of you are afraid because you've hurt others and you don't want to face it." A few demons outside shouted in anger. Charlie's heart pounded, but she held her ground. "Fear is real," Charlie said, "but fear does not give you the right to become a mob." Then a demon outside threw a bottle. It hit the window and cracked it. The crowd surged. Vaggie stepped forward, spear up. "Back!" Vaggie shouted. "One more and we shut this down." Vox's voice rose, delighted. "Oh, here we go." Charlie's breath caught. This was the moment Vox wanted. Johnny stepped forward, slow. The crowd went quiet again, pulled by instinct. Johnny didn't shout. He didn't threaten. He spoke in a calm voice that carried. "I won't burn a crowd," Johnny said. The crowd murmured. One demon yelled, "Then you're weak." Johnny's skull turned slightly. "No," Johnny said. "I'm controlled." The demon laughed. "Sure," Johnny continued anyway, voice steady. "You're here because you think I brought heaven," Johnny said. "I didn't." Shouts rose. Johnny lifted one hand, not to blast fire, but to point at Vox's floating screens outside. "You're here because he told you to be here," Johnny said. Vox's voice cut in fast. "Hey, don't blame me for public interest." Johnny didn't look away. "He doesn't stand in front of you," Johnny said. "He stands behind screens." The crowd murmured again, uneasy. Vox's grin tightened. "Careful, skull guy." Johnny's voice dropped. "He profits from your fear," Johnny said. "He sells it back to you." A few demons outside looked up at the drones like they were seeing them for the first time. Vox's voice stayed cheerful, but sharper now. "And you profit from judgment, right? Big scary stare." "Show them." Charlie's stomach dropped. Vox wanted Johnny to do it on camera. Johnny didn't. Instead, Johnny stepped back and turned toward Charlie. He spoke quietly now, only for her and Vaggie. "He's stalling," Johnny said. "He's waiting for the real hit." Vaggie's eyes widened. "What real hit?" Johnny's skull lifted toward the ceiling. "Above," he said. Charlie's blood ran cold. She felt it a second later. A clean white pressure in the sky. Not the crowd. Heaven. Vaggie cursed. "No, not now." The lobby lights flickered. The crowd outside looked up, confused. Then the horn sounded again from the clouds. And the street went still. A line of bright figures descended, weapons shining, wings spread like blades. Exorcists. Not a full army. A strike team. And at the front, loot. Her eyes locked on the hotel like a nail finding wood. Vox's voice boomed, thrilled. "Yes! Heaven is here! This is history!" Charlie's heart hammered. "This is what he wanted," she whispered. Vaggie's voice was tight. "A two-front disaster." Johnny stepped forward. His chain lifted. His fire burned hotter. Loot landed in the street with a hard crack. Her team landed beside her in perfect formation. She pointed her spear at the hotel. "This building is a lie," Loot said, voice cold and loud. "And the anomaly inside it is a stain." Charlie stepped forward, trembling but fierce. "We're not hurting anyone," Charlie shouted. Loot didn't even look at Charlie. Her eyes stayed on Johnny. "You," Loot said. "Leave." Johnny didn't move. "No," Johnny said. Loot's mouth tightened. "Then we remove you," Loot said. She raised her hand. Her team lifted weapons that looked different now. Not just spears. Chains with white light running through them. Tools. Vaggie's eyes widened. "They brought restraints," Husk muttered behind the bar. "I hate upgrades." The exorcists rushed. And at the exact same time, Vox's drones blasted loud siren sounds over the crowd, pushing them into panic. People screamed. People shoved. Some tried to run. Some tried to fight. Vox's voice shouted over it all. "Look! The hotel brought heaven down on us! Run!" Charlie's chest tightened. He was turning the crowd into a weapon. Johnny moved. He didn't charge into the crowd. He didn't throw fire into the street. He stepped into the space between the exorcists and the panicking civilians like a living shield. His chain snapped outward, not at random, but precise. It wrapped around the first angelic chain and yanked it sideways, ripping it away from the crowd line. The white chain burned against Johnny's own chain, sparks flying. Johnny didn't flinch. Loot lunged toward him, trying to hook the restraint around his neck. Johnny caught it with one hand and pulled. Loot's boot slid across the street. She dug in, strong, trained, stubborn. But she was still pulling against something that didn't get tired. Johnny yanked once. Loot flew forward and hit the ground hard. Charlie gasped. Vaggie whispered, "He's not playing." Johnny didn't finish Loot. He didn't stomp her. He turned and threw his hellfire in a tight arc upward. The fire formed a wall above the street, not touching the crowd, but blocking the exorcists' flight path for a second. It forced them lower. It forced them into a smaller area. Johnny was controlling the battlefield. Charlie realized what he was doing. He was keeping the fight away from the civilians. Charlie snapped into action. "Everyone inside!" she shouted to the crowd, voice shaking but loud. "In the hotel! We have exits! We have shelter!" Vaggie turned and barked at Husk and Angel. "Open the side doors!" Vaggie yelled. "Move people through! Now!" Angel Dust sprinted for the side entrance like he was running from his own nightmares. Husk sighed and started shoving chairs aside. "Move! Move!" Husk shouted at civilians, suddenly a manager in a crisis. "Don't touch the bar!" Nifty squealed. "New guests!" Alastair laughed softly, eyes bright. Oh, what a night! Charlie didn't have time to deal with him. Outside, the exorcists regrouped fast. Loot stood, eyes burning with rage. She shouted a command. 2 exorcists aimed their angel chains at the hotel doors, trying to block the crowd from entering. Johnny saw it. He moved like a flash, chains snapping out and wrapping both angels by the ankles. He yanked them backward into the street, away from the civilians. He didn't tear them apart. He slammed them down hard enough to stop them. Then Lute charged again, spear glowing. Her strike hit Johnny's shoulder and bit deeper than last time. Charlie's stomach dropped. For the first time, Johnny's body shifted from impact. Not because he was weak, because those weapons were made for things like him. Johnny grabbed the spear shaft and twisted. The spear cracked in Lute's hands. Lute's eyes widened in real shock. Johnny leaned close, skull inches from her face. The crowd screamed behind them. Vox's drones hovered, hungry, waiting for the monster moment. Johnny spoke low. "You came early again," Johnny said. "You broke your own rules." Lute snarled. "We make the rules." Johnny's fire flared. "For now," Johnny said. Charlie felt it. The temptation. If Johnny used the penance stare on Lute again, on camera, Vox would spin it. If he didn't, Lute would keep attacking, and people would die. Johnny held still, fire raging, and made a choice. He didn't use the stare. He slammed his chain down into the street instead. Hellfire spread in a ring around the exorcist's feet, a burning circle that didn't touch the crowd. A boundary line, a cage made of fire. The exorcists tried to step through it. Their armor smoked, their boots burned. They pulled back, forced to stay inside the ring. Lute looked around, furious. "You're trapping us," she hissed. Johnny's voice was calm. "I'm containing you," he said. Charlie's chest hurt with relief and fear at the same time. He was choosing control over punishment. That mattered. Inside the hotel, the crowd poured into the lobby, shouting and panicking. Charlie moved among them, hands up, guiding them. "Back hall!" she shouted. "Roof exit is open! Keep moving!" Some demons stared at Johnny through the cracked windows, stunned. Some whispered his name like a curse. Some whispered it like a prayer. Vox's voice blared over speakers outside. "Look at him!" Vox shouted. "He's holding heaven in a fire cage! Who does that?" "Who gets that power?" Charlie clenched her fists. He was still selling fear. Then Charlie saw the real danger. A smaller group of demons, wearing Vox-branded gear, pushed through the crowd with weapons. They weren't scared. They were organized. They were heading for the hotel's side door. Vaggie spotted them too. "They're not civilians," Vaggie snapped. "They're his." Angel Dust's face went pale. He brought muscle. Charlie's heart pounded. Vox was doing it again. Use panic as cover to strike. Charlie stepped forward. "No," she said, voice shaking. "Not here." She raised her hands. Red energy flared around her, brighter than most demons ever saw from her. The Vox thugs hesitated. Charlie didn't blast them. She slammed the floor. A red shockwave rippled outward, knocking weapons from hands and throwing the thugs backward like they hit a wall. The crowd gasped. Some screamed. Charlie's breath shook. She looked at her own hands like she didn't fully trust them. Vaggie stared at her with fierce pride. "That's my girl." Charlie didn't have time to blush. Outside, Johnny's ring of hellfire held, but heaven adjusted. Lute barked another command. 2 exorcists pulled out small white spikes and threw them into the street outside the ring. The spikes landed and burst into bright light that tried to cut through the red air. The hellfire ring flickered. Johnny's fire surged to hold it. Charlie realized what was happening. They were making him spend energy. They were trying to tire him, and Vox was filming every second. Then Alastair moved. Charlie felt him before she saw him. His radio sound filled the air. Crackling. Old speakers in the hotel, street speakers, broken TV screens, anything that could carry sound. suddenly carried Alastair's voice instead of Vox's. Vox's drones glitched. Vox's face flickered. "What?" Vox snapped, suddenly angry. Alastair's voice poured out smooth and bright. "Ladies and gentlemen of hell," Alastair announced. "What a wonderful crowd, and what a shame it is that you are being lied to." Charlie's eyes widened. "Alastair," Vaggie growled. "Oh no." Alastair didn't ask permission. He never did. Alastair's voice continued, cheerful and sharp. "You are told that this hotel summoned heaven," Alastair said. "Yet heaven attacked this hotel long before today, didn't it?" the crowd murmured. Alastair's voice rose slightly. "And you are told that this flaming stranger is the problem," Alastair said. "Yet who is using you as a shield right now?" Charlie realized what he was doing. He was flipping the story. Not for kindness, for control. But the result could still help. Alastair's voice turned sweet. "Look outside," Alastair said. "Is the skull creature burning you? Or is he holding heaven in place so you can run?" The crowd's eyes turned. They saw Johnny in the street, ring of fire steady. Angels trapped inside. Civilians moving past him into safety. For one moment, fear shifted into something else. Respect. Vox's drones buzzed loudly, trying to override the broadcast. Alastair laughed through the speakers. "Oh, Vox," Alastair purred. "Did you really think this city only has room for one broadcaster?" Vox's voice screamed back through one drone that still worked. "This is my city's feed." Alastair's voice stayed calm. "Then stop hiding," Alastair said. "Come say it to my face." Vox didn't. He never did. Charlie used that moment. She stepped onto the porch again, voice loud, shaking, but clear. "You're being used," Charlie shouted to the crowd. "Vox wants you to panic. Heaven wants you dead. The hotel is trying to get you out alive." The crowd hesitated. They started moving more in order now. Less pushing, less screaming. Not perfect, but better. Inside the hotel, Husk stared at the bar, then at the moving crowd, then muttered to himself. "I'm going to need a bigger notebook," he said. Angel Dust caught his breath, eyes darting. Then he looked at Johnny through the window. Angel's hands shook. He whispered, "He's doing this. For us." Vaggie heard him. "He's doing it because it's right," Vaggie said. "Don't waste it." Angel swallowed hard. Outside, Lute realized she was losing control of the scene. The crowd wasn't turning on the hotel like Vox wanted. So Lute made a choice. She pointed her spear at the building. "If you will not surrender," she shouted, "we cleanse everything inside." Charlie's blood ran cold. "No!" Charlie shouted. Johnny heard it. His skull snapped toward the hotel for half a second. That half second was all Lute needed. She drove her broken spear shaft into the ground. A white pulse shot through the street toward the hotel like a line of lightning. It aimed for the lobby. Vaggie screamed, "Charlie, down!" Charlie's body reacted too slow, but Johnny was already moving. He threw his chain, not at an angel, at the hotel wall. The chain wrapped the building's front frame, and Johnny yanked with everything he had. The front of the building shuddered. The white pulse hit the chain instead of the lobby, diverting into the metal. The chain glowed white-hot. Johnny's flames roared as he absorbed the hit. He didn't collapse, but the effort showed. The fire around his skull surged and flickered for the first time since he arrived. Charlie's heart pounded. He wasn't weak. He was carrying too much at once. Lute raised her hand again, ready to fire a second time. Johnny lifted his skull, fire roaring back, and made his second big choice. He used the penance stare. Not on Lute, not on an exorcist. He turned his skull toward the sky, toward the drones, toward the eyes watching, and he spoke one sentence that made the air go still. "Let your leader look," Johnny said. Lute froze. Vox's drones hovered closer, hungry. Johnny stepped forward, chain dragging sparks. "You want a story?" Johnny said. Voice loud now. "Here." He grabbed the nearest exorcist by the chest plate and yanked them close. He didn't stare. He held them up like proof. He lifted his flaming skull toward the crowd. "Do you know what they feel when they kill you?" Johnny asked, voice calm and deadly. "Nothing." The crowd murmured, fear rising again. Johnny pointed at Lute. "Look at her," Johnny said. "She calls it clean. She calls it right." Lute snarled. "Silence!" Johnny didn't stop. "If you want to be judged," Johnny said, "judge the ones who swing first." Charlie felt it. He wasn't just fighting. He was forcing a moral choice, and it hit heaven where it hurt. Image. Lute realized what he was doing too. He was turning the camera into a mirror. Lute's jaw clenched. She signaled her team. Retreat. The exorcists didn't like retreat. But they liked public shame even less. They pulled back, wings snapping open, rising into the clouds as the crowd watched them flee. Vox's drones buzzed in frustration. "No!" Vox's voice screamed. "Don't go! Stay! This is—" The white light vanished into the red sky. The street went quiet in a strange way, like the whole city had just watched something they weren't supposed to see. Charlie exhaled hard, almost collapsing. Vaggie grabbed her. "You okay?" Vaggie whispered. Charlie nodded, shaking. "Yes. No. I don't know." Johnny stood in the street, fire steadying again, chain smoking from the angel pulse. He turned back toward the hotel. The crowd stared at him. Some looked afraid. Some looked grateful. Some looked angry, because gratitude felt like weakness to them. Then Vox made his last move. A huge screen lit up on a nearby building. Vox's face filled it, furious now, no longer playful. "You think you won?" Vox shouted. "You think this is heroic?" Charlie's stomach sank. Vox pointed a finger on screen like it could stab. "That skull thing just held heaven in a cage," Vox screamed. "Do you want that kind of power, unchecked in your city?" The crowd shifted, uncertain again. Charlie's fear rose. This never ends, she thought. Then Johnny did something small. He walked back to the porch. He stopped in front of the crowd. He didn't threaten. He didn't preach. He said one simple thing. "I don't want your city," Johnny said. "I want your chains broken." He looked at Vox's big screen. "And you," Johnny said, voice quiet but sharp. "You're one of the chains." Vox's face twisted. A new voice cut through the air, calm and tired, like someone had finally decided they were done watching. "That's enough," Lucifer said. He didn't appear on screen. He appeared above the street, floating casually like it was nothing, hands in his pockets, expression annoyed. The crowd went silent. Even Vox's screen paused for half a beat. Lucifer looked down at the crowd. "Everyone," Lucifer said, voice flat. "Go home." No magic blast, no threat, just authority. People moved. Fast. Lucifer looked toward Vox's tower in the distance. "And Vox," Lucifer added, "if you keep using my daughter's street as your stage, I will personally rip every screen out of your walls." Vox's big screen flickered. His smile tried to return. "Your Majesty," Vox started. Lucifer didn't let him finish. "Shut up," Lucifer said. The screen went black. Charlie stared up at her dad, stunned. Lucifer glanced at her. His expression softened for half a second, then hardened again like he hated that it softened. "You," Lucifer said to Charlie, "need better locks." Charlie blinked, breath shaking. "Okay." Lucifer's eyes moved to Johnny. They held for a long moment. Lucifer spoke quietly, only loud enough for Charlie, Vaggie, and Johnny to hear. "Heaven will come again," Lucifer said. Johnny nodded. "I know." Lucifer's gaze sharpened. "And that deal thing will try again," Lucifer said. Johnny's fire flared slightly. I know. Lucifer exhaled. Then he said something that surprised Charlie. This hotel is under my protection, Lucifer said, like it was a legal stamp. Officially. Charlie's eyes went wide. Dad! Lucifer cut her off with a look. Don't make it weird, Lucifer muttered. Then he looked at Johnny again. And you, Lucifer said, don't make me regret this. Johnny's voice was steady. I won't, he said. Lucifer nodded once, then vanished as casually as he had arrived. The street emptied. The drones drifted away, hungry but confused. The Hazbin hotel still stood. Barely. Cracked. Smoked. Ugly. But standing. Charlie leaned against the porch railing, shaking. Vaggie held her shoulder tight. Angel Dust stood behind them, quiet. Eyes wet but trying not to show it. Husk opened his notebook with a slow, tired sigh. He looked at the wrecked porch. He looked at the cracked window. He looked at the scorch marks. Then he muttered, I'm charging heaven too. Johnny stepped back inside. He walked straight to the bar and set down one last burned coin. Husk stared at it. Then he slid it into his pocket and closed the notebook. All right, Husk said. Voice gruff. Call it even for tonight. Johnny's skull tilted. Not even, Johnny said. Just paid. Charlie wiped her eyes with her sleeve. She looked at Johnny, voice small. You could have burned them, she said. Johnny looked at her. I could have, he agreed. Charlie swallowed. Why didn't you? Johnny's answer was simple. Because you asked me not to, he said. Charlie's chest tightened. Vaggie looked away fast, like she didn't want anyone to see her face soften. Johnny's fire steadied. Then he spoke, quiet, but clear. This is the rule, Johnny said. Predators get hunted. People trying to change get time. Charlie nodded, voice shaking. Okay, she whispered. Okay. And for the first time since he arrived, the hotel felt like it had a new shape to it. Not just a dream, a line drawn in fire. Night returned like it always did in hell, loud and restless. But on the Hazbin Hotel's block, the noise felt different now. People still whispered about the Skull Rider. They still stared at the scorch marks. They still argued about whether he was a hero or a curse. Yet nobody came too close with bad intentions. Not tonight. Charlie sat on the lobby couch that Husk had replaced with a slightly less broken couch. She held a mug of hot something that tasted like sugar and regret. Vaggie sat beside her, spear leaned against the wall within reach. Neither of them spoke for a while. Finally, Charlie whispered, Do you think we made it worse? Vaggie's answer came fast. No. Charlie blinked. Really? Vaggie stared at the cracked window. We were already a target, Vaggie said. Now we're a target with teeth. Charlie let out a shaky laugh. That's a scary way to say it, Charlie muttered. Vaggie glanced at her. You wanted real change, Vaggie said. Real change is scary. Charlie nodded slowly. Across the room, Angel Dust stood near the bar, staring at his hands. Husk cleaned a glass in slow circles. Johnny stood by the front door, looking out into the street through a narrow gap in the curtain. He didn't drink. He didn't sit. He watched. Angel finally walked up to him. He stopped 2 steps away, nervous. Johnny didn't turn, but he spoke anyway. You're still chained, Johnny said. Angel's voice cracked a little. Yeah. Johnny's skull tilted slightly. But it's cracked, Johnny said. Angel swallowed. Does that mean I can get out? Johnny turned his skull toward Angel. His fire didn't surge. It didn't threaten. It just burned steady. It means there's a path, Johnny said. Not a shortcut. Angel's eyes watered. He tried to smile. It came out small. Cool, Angel whispered. I hate paths. Johnny's voice stayed calm. Then walk anyway, Johnny said. Angel nodded once, fast, like he didn't want to cry in front of a flaming skull. He backed away and went to the couch, sitting down near Charlie and Vaggie without asking. For once, nobody told him to move. Nifty popped out of nowhere with a broom. "I cleaned the porch," she announced proudly. "Mostly. The burn marks are still there, but I think they're pretty." Husk groaned. "They're not pretty. They're expensive." Nifty beamed. "Pretty expensive." Husk opened his notebook halfway, then closed it again with a sigh. He looked at Johnny. "You know," Husk said, trying to sound casual, "if you keep paying like that, we might actually survive." Johnny didn't respond. He reached into his jacket and placed one more coin on the bar anyway. Husk blinked, then quietly pocketed it. Charlie watched that and felt something warm under the fear. Not comfort, not safety, but support. The front door creaked open. Cold air rolled in. Johnny stepped out. His motorcycle waited in the street like it had never left, flames low, not roaring. He climbed on and sat still for a moment. The city glowed in the distance. Screens flickered far away. Sirens wailed somewhere else. Hell was still. Hell. Johnny looked back through the window. Charlie met his gaze. She didn't wave. She just nodded once. Johnny nodded back. Then he rode off, fire trailing behind the tires in a thin line that faded after a few seconds. Like a warning that didn't need to last long to be understood. Inside the hotel, Charlie took a slow breath and whispered to herself, almost like a promise. "Life keeps going," she said. Vaggie squeezed her hand, and in the quiet gap between one crisis and the next, the Hazbin Hotel stood, cracked, loud and stubborn, trying to be something new in a place that hated new.